Looks like, oh, yep, there we go. I'm live now. All right, how's it going, everybody? Let's see, anybody in the chat? Hey, Start Answer, how you doing? Let me see. Start Answer, do you want to pop in? Let me know, and I will send you the link via email. I think that worked before. I know there was some problem last time, but I think, let me know. Let me know if you want to join. Okay, I'll email it to you. Okay, Start Answer. Let's see. So just give me 1 minute, Start Answer. I'm going to email it to you now. There's a little bit of a delay, so it might take a little bit for you to get it. Oh, let me get the link. Yes, there we go. And okay, I just sent you. All right, I just sent you the link. Start Answer. So you should be getting it soon. Let's see. The Task Force. Hey, Tusk. Kasia, Loki, Morgan. Hey, how's it going? Captain Ghost. Hello. Blake Skook. How's it going? The Dark Apex. So a call for an uprising wants to put gays and trans into asylums, and he wants to cage. That man is insane. He is absolutely insane. I mean, he's not like the kind of crazy where you kind of like look at him and laugh and go, haha, that guy's crazy. No, I mean, he's like insane. Like, you know, he's like dangerously insane. That's what I mean to say. Yeah, he's bad news. Let's just put it that way. He is bad news. Let me see. Here we go. All right, so I sent a couple of links out. Hit me up in the chat if you want to join in. Let me see. I am Trash. Hey, Trash, how's it going? Oh, he said my name. I'm famous now. Yeah, right. Can we put call for an uprising in the cage? Yeah. You know, I don't think we have to do anything. I mean, he's going to put himself in the cage at some point. I was on a show of his, and he was just yelling and flipping out. I was afraid he was going to have a heart attack, and it was so funny because I was completely level-headed during the whole time, and I even purposely talked a little softer and a little slower just to make him seem even more crazy. And he took that off his channel. He's never put it back up because he made himself look like such a insane jackass. It was funnier than hell. And sadly, I didn't record it at the time, and so who knows? Maybe one day he'll put it up on his channel, forgetting how much of an idiot he looked like. Let's see, Kasia Loki Morgan. Well, hey, Kasia Loki Morgan, you're going to have to follow me on Twitter so I could send you the link. But yes, you're more than happy to join in. I think I know what you mean. I have no. He's one of those guys. Could I join? Yeah, Blake, you can join, but you have to follow me on Twitter because I'm not going to post the link in the chat. My Twitter is that. That is my Twitter handle. Actually, let me do it this way. This might be a little easier. A little hashtag in front of it. That'll make it easier. Let's see. It's me. Hey, Grob. Oh yeah. Hey, Grob. Sorry. I need. Did I send you? Hey, Grob. I sent you the link. It's on Twitter. So you. I hope I sent you the right link. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I sent you the link. So let me know if that works for you. If not, I'll send it again. Let's see. You should see what a call for an uprising said to another theorist, Zachary Huber. He called the guy a bitch and a cocksucker, and the guy's followers. Projection is such a funny thing. You will find whoever insults you the most, like whatever they use to insult you, usually is their own insecurity. So you'll find people that call people fags and cocksuckers and all that other stuff are kind of, you know, possibly secretly homosexual themselves and they're just not admitting it. Start answer. You didn't receive it. All right, let me try that again. Start answer. Let me see what email I sent it to. I'm not gonna dox your email, so don't worry. I sent it to your Gmail account. Start answer. I sent it to Gmail. But start answer. Are you on Twitter? Let me see if I can. Let me see. Hey, Grob, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Start answer. Yes, Kasia, Loki, Morgan, I can email you, but I don't have your email address, and I don't think you want to post it in the chat. If you do post it in the chat, you know, who knows who will be emailing you and for what purpose. So yeah, so sorry guys, but the only way I can invite you in is if I have your email address already or I know you on Twitter. Yeah, so start answer. Let me send that again. So I'll send it again. While I'm doing this. Sorry, Grob. Give me just 1 minute here.
Yeah.
All right, I sent it to you.
I'm going to go and put
Okay. All right.
coffee on.
Yeah, take your time. Okay, so start answer. I sent it to you again. Check your email again. Also check your spam folder. It might have gone to there. About what? It's fine. I can block it. Okay. Well, Kasia, yeah, sure. Post your email and I'll send you a link. I don't know if Thomas Dunn's in London yet. Oh, I don't know. I know he went to England. I don't know if he's in Sin SN in the house. What is SN? I don't know what SN is. Yeah, I know he went to England. I don't know if he's in London yet. I don't think, I'm trying to remember distances, but I think he was in Dundee. I think it's like maybe just a day's trip to London from there, via the I don't know if there's a direct train that goes from Dundee to London or vice versa. He might have to transfer a couple of times, so I don't know it, but I don't think it'd be longer than 2 days at the max. So okay, Akasha. I have. Whoops, damn it. Okay, the chat's got to quit moving so I can copy this. Son of a. Seriously, stop moving, chat. Oh, you. All right, Kasia. Let me send you that. So Akasha, go ahead and just remove that comment. So at least you get the least amount of exposure for your email address. Because I would feel bad if people started spamming you, you know, Viagra crap. All because you wanted to join my hangout. Yes, there you go. Smart move. Let me see.
Yeah, I've got my coffee now.
Oh, okay, good. So how you doing, Grub?
Well, I've just listened to a couple of your shows. There was one that premiered, and then there was another one, some occult expert. God save us from these former high-ranking occult experts. I mean,
Well, and he was also in the Illuminati. So
of course, they're all in the Illuminati, and they're all 158th degree Freemasons.
you know what? He actually does claim to be like higher than the 33rd degree Mason, Bill does. So that's really funny you say that.
Well, I wouldn't trust him to build a wall with bricks. I mean, Christ, look at the guy. He's an idiot.
If
it wasn't for the mall Santa work, he'd be homeless, you know.
If it wasn't for the 2 books he sold, he'd be homeless. And also
what do you mean? He's written 2 different titles, or his total book sales are 2?
He's written 2 titles.
Oh God.
Yeah, I bought his books, but I made sure to buy them used. I think one I actually found at Goodwill. So I spent like 50 cents on it or something.
Damn, you'll never see that money again.
Yeah, I know.
But at least it went to a good cause, you know.
Yeah, well, I sure the hell wasn't going to give him my money.
No, I mean, I got a couple of Mike Walker's books, and I still haven't got through it because I think I'm allergic to it.
Yeah,
I think it just bullshit just brings me out, and I just the crap.
Mike Warnke's another one of those guys. I think he was one of the first ones.
I think he was about 73 when he published The Satan Seller.
What?
It was early 70s.
You mean 1973?
73, 74, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It wasn't the age of 73 when he published
it. I misheard you. That's what I thought you said.
Maybe in occultic experience years, he may have been 73.
You know, it's so funny. I don't know why these guys do that. The only thing I can think of is that they just assume that if they could like somehow prove the existence of evil, that somehow that's going to make people turn to God, or I don't know. I don't know what their reasoning is behind it.
I think they can't convince anyone that they're former sort of Marines or Green Berets, so they have to go with former witchcraft enthusiasts. It's the only lie they can think of that they can attempt to sort of impress people with.
So crazy. I mean, they're just such a deficiency of like opinion of yourself. If you have to make up a whole life story for yourself to make yourself seem better, I mean, you must have such a low opinion of yourself, you know?
But nobody cares. Nobody cares how average and mundane you are. It's how interesting you are in terms of how you deal with average mundane life, which we all live. You know, you don't need to go inventing this story that you were summoning demons and the head of an underground church. You know, just tell people what you had for lunch and the idiot you spoke to when you're waiting for a bus. I mean, even mundane life is interesting if you're interested in it.
Yeah, exactly. So how's it going, Star Dancer? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How was your time off?
Well, I didn't really have any time off. I mean, I just haven't been making videos.
Well, that's a rest. That's a respite.
Yeah.
Hey, blessings, everybody.
Hey, how's it going, Kasia?
It's going great.
Good. So yeah, I actually changed jobs, and so that's one of the reasons why I haven't been making videos on a regular basis, because I've been working there and putting in a lot of hours and training and stuff like that. So
been a busy beaver, huh?
Yeah, pretty busy, but just haven't been making very many videos. So my apologies to all of you.
You've been living your life.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I haven't really been making that many either. I've been busy with life.
Now, what is your channel?
It's actually this one right now that that I'm talking from. The Kasia Loki Morgana.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. So if people want to go and check out Kasia's channel, you can just if there's like 3 little dots towards the far right of the name of the person, and you can just click that and you can go to their channel. And some other shout outs, people on here, Grobnob, the guy who's talking right here, he is typical 1970s pervert. He has a channel in there, and Spoof Movement has a channel. I think Tusk Force, I think he has a channel too. But anyhow, you can check out other people in the chat have channels too, so you can definitely check out those. Hey Carrie, how's it going? So I'm saying hello to people in the chat too.
Sweet.
Yeah. So what's
for the coughing background?
What's your channel about, Kasia?
For a minute it was about yes, but I'm changing that to just pretty much just talking about my journey as a green witch, and just sharing some information that I have been pretty much studying, and I do mean studying. And just pretty much just sharing my experience and my knowledge with newbies.
Cool. Yeah, that's one of the nice things about YouTube is there's a really strong pagan community on YouTube, and there's just so many people out there, and everybody has their own perspective on things and their own flavor of thing, and everybody's willing to share, and it's really a fantastic community. So I think people who are looking to find out more information about it, YouTube is a great place for it. Back in my day, if you wanted to find out information or get a hold of people or find out groups or whatever, it was really difficult. There was a lot of various things you had to know somebody who knew somebody, or you had to, maybe your local bookstore had information about it, but it was difficult. I mean, I grew up in a major city, so it was really easy for me. I grew up in California, in the Bay Area, so it was like there were like pagans and witches and druids everywhere. I mean, you couldn't swing a stick without hitting one. So I was really fortunate. But other people who lived in, like, let's say the middle of the U.S., there's, chances are they knew nobody who was a pagan, maybe, for several miles or maybe even the next city over. So
yeah, I lived in St. Louis County. That's where I grew up, and there was none of this metaphysical or occult bookstores. There was no info whatsoever. You just had to go digging.
You had to what?
Go digging.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was I mean, right now there's a lot of information out there, which is great. I remember going to the public library and having to do interlibrary loans to get books, and then waiting weeks, and then the book finally arrives and you go to the library and you got your notepad and you just sit there and take notes. Did that a couple of times. And then you can't take the book out because it's an interlibrary loan, so you have to stay in the library with it.
Yeah. And like out here where I'm at, we have very few pagan shops out here in the county that I'm in, Ventura County. And I literally had to Google witchy shops just to find them, and even then it's like okay. You know, and I mean, it's just funny. There's a lot of us out here in our county. It's just we're so scattered to where we can't. We're just we have to go to Amazon to get stuff, and after a while, that gets pretty damn expensive. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
always good to have that. The good thing about being in California too is that we have these botanical shops that we could go to and get certain things that we need for less, as if we were to order them off Amazon or places like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love YouTube though, because there are so many different witches, sorcerers, you name it, and everyone has a finesse on how they do their magic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Their own unique way, so you can learn. You learn just like you think you've known everything about a certain item or a certain situation, and they'll open your eyes and go, "This we can do it this way too," you know.
Mm-hmm.
Or here's an herb.
Add your own little touch to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Deborah, and I think that's one of the really nice things. I mean, I see some people who are like, you know, I mean, they have some information and they share it, and I think it's great, but you know, I listen to them and I'm like, oh crap, that's not exactly right, or you know, or they mix something with it with something else, and that's not the origin of it. It actually came from another practice, and I'm just like, well, that's not exactly correct information. So I stopped watching a lot of those videos, because when I first came onto YouTube, I was like the, you know, the guy going around being a jerk in everybody's comment section, you know, well, excuse me, but you're not quite doing this right. You should be doing it this way. And you know, I've been sending. I didn't want to be that guy, so I just said, all right, you know what, I'm just gonna leave that alone, and I'll go and do this.
And you know what? I have to honestly say, ever since I'm starting to learn more about the craft, I'm not gonna lie. I think I would have to say I'm doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have to stop watching certain videos or certain YouTubers, because it's like I'm just ready to do this. When I watch it, I'm like, what the hell? Why? You know what? My head hurts. I'm gonna stop watching your ass. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, but there's some people on there. A lot of people have really good personalities, and they have their own style of doing things, and they'll do book reviews, and
Oh
so
yeah.
it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, and there's so many. It's like I keep there's like little pockets of communities around, and so it's like you'll run into one person who's part of one community that's kind of off of the because I'm part of the YouTube Pagans Facebook group, and so that those people all have, like, they're all kind of, you know, everybody watches their videos, and that community is very strong, but they don't. And then sometimes I'll run into a person who's part of like a community over here, and they don't know anything about this other community, and so it's just it's really it's weird. It's like these little, almost like these little bubble pockets of. But that's even YouTube is filled with little pockets of various communities of whatever, you know, whatever it is that you identify with, you know, like underwater basket weaving. There's probably a YouTube community for that. So.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at what's on YouTube nowadays. It's just like this people on here are just like battling each other. It's like we're grown people. Why the hell do we need to be fighting and complaining? And it's childish. With me being a teacher, I always tell my kids, if somebody is bothering you, just ignore them. The more you ignore them, the more they're gonna just stop. Eventually, they're gonna stop bugging the hell out of you. So just ignore them, you know,
Yeah, but
and they'll go away.
Yeah, that's everything. That's everywhere. Everywhere you have people who do infighting. It's just human nature. It's just the way it
Yeah.
is. You know, you'll find it at work. You'll find it in your friends groups, circles. You'll find it in social circles you're a part of. It's just, yeah, and it's on YouTube. You know, I mean, it's just, you find it on Facebook, you find it on Twitter, you find it everywhere. People just find some reason to, you know, whatever, be part of a group, or I don't know. It's just human nature, just the way it is.
Yeah, it's just we just all just need to start. We're adults. We just need to just grow the hell up and just be like, look, I don't have time for you. I'm just gonna do me, and there it is. There. I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
sure. That sounds great, but
Yeah.
the reality of the situation is, I mean, people will divide over whatever. Like, oh, you put a left shoe on first, I put a right shoe on first. You do it wrong.
Yeah, all right. You're not supposed to say tomato.
They'll find like the littlest thing, and then there's division.
Yeah, like you're not supposed to say tomato. It's tomato. You're not supposed to say potato. It's potato.
It's tater. It's tater.
Tater.
It's not tater. It's potato.
I don't know where y'all's talk from. You got taters over there.
I told her I was going to come and visit her, and we were going to go to a restaurant, and I was going to order a baked tater.
Baked potato.
Yeah, come to California saying that, they're gonna look at you like, what the hell?
Yeah, they'll be talking with a Valley Girl accent.
Like, well, it's like a tater, like for sure. Like tater. Say that up in Hollywood, they really look at you funny.
True. So, Grobnob, if you want to jump in, you just have to jump in. It's not really like a too formal.
Yeah, I was listening to that Halloween thing, and it just reminded me of the Jack T. Chick comic books. You remember those things?
Yep, Jack T. Chick. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's a certain particular school of just absolute bullshit. I mean, the guy didn't do any research whatsoever.
I don't think any of them do.
Well, I love it when they've got stuff like they've got ancient England and they've got pumpkins, and it's like we don't have pumpkins in England. They're not indigenous to Europe. We've only had them for like 20 years at most when we started importing them.
Yeah, but the funniest part is they'll say that the ancient Druids had pumpkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were at Stonehenge with their pumpkins, sacrificing people.
Oh, wow.
You know, with bags of candy.
Yeah, right, God. Exactly. M&M bars. And
Die with the M&M bar!
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna have to get some of those Jack T. Chick books. I saw an offer where you get 75 of them for a pretty reasonable price, so I might just jump in with that.
They have a website too, and you can go to their website and see all the various chick tracks they have. I actually did a video on the chick track for a Halloween episode, and I colorized it, and it was a lot of fun to put together. But I just downloaded all those images. I didn't go out and actually buy a chick track. I just used their images.
I'd like to have some on my bookshelf because I've got some of this garbage. I've got a couple of Mike Wonks. I think it's Lauren Stafford's book, and I've got one about Harry Potter. I haven't read them yet. They just sat there. But
Harry Potter.
I'd like to read that one.
Yeah, I think it's called Harry Potter versus the Bible. Explaining.
Oh, righty then.
That's
Harry Potter is a gateway drug for young impressionable children, and if they read those books, their souls will be forfeit.
Yep, we had schools in, I forget exactly where it was, but they actually petitioned to get Harry Potter removed because they felt it was a bad influence on kids because it talked about witchcraft and the occult.
Oh wow, So if that's the case, then they should remove the Bible from the schools and stuff like that. I'm just saying.
No, because the Bible's the right book.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Everything else is scientism. they teach that evil evolution, and about the flat earth, about the round earth and all that. Yeah, no, the Bible is the good book. All the rest of them is, spawns of Satan.
Well, if that's the case, then you might as well remove the science books then. I mean, I'm just saying.
I've noticed right after we had our Samhain celebration that I had 2 sets of Mormons come to my door. Apparently they can hear through my window.
Wow.
So now I'm being visited.
Did you invite them in?
I invite them in.
You can invite them in and just say, we were just about to sacrifice the virgin. You came at the perfect time.
Yeah, especially the young boys that come to the door. Woo, yummy.
Are
either one of you virgins, just out of curiosity?
I'm just curious, I'm just saying. saying.
I kind of upset one or two. I invited them in. I was very gracious and nice to them. They just didn't agree with my opinion.
Right.
Hey, well, at least you haven't ran into a bunch of nuns when you're out at the stores lately.
Just ask them where they live, and in about a couple hours, you'll come knocking on their door and talk to them about whatever. Oh, we don't want to tell people where we live. Really, you don't want them knocking on your door, bothering you at some weird hour.
At the bewitching hour.
Right.
I am here at the right hour. But it's 3 a.m. I know. That's the bewitching hour. Duh.
Yeah, knock on their door at 3 a.m.
Heck, I'd be awake.
Oh man. There's some places where Mormons are, I guess they go around, and I've never ever had a Mormon or anybody knock on my door or try to sell me anything, but I did get a Bible once in the mail, and I was like, what the fuck? And apparently my whole building did it. It's like the whole block. For some reason, somehow some guy was able to mail, like, they weren't like big Bibles, they were like little Bibles, but somehow
like
managed to mail them to a bunch of people. Huh?
Yeah.
Like the New Testament.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was just like a little thin. Yeah, maybe it's just a New Testament.
Yeah, so you were all
was it one of those Gideon ones?
No, it wasn't a Gideon one. It was like a little. It was like I threw it away, but it was about maybe like 4 inches high, maybe about 2 or 3 inches wide, and then maybe about, I don't know, maybe a half an inch thick.
Yeah, so that sounds like the New Testament with Psalms in it.
Oh, okay. So that's maybe what it was. I don't think. I think maybe it was just one part. I think it was either New Testament or Old Testament. So,
Loken, your whole building was marked to go to hell. That's why they did that.
That's right. They did it for the whole block. Yeah, because I went to the post office and I was like, I received this in the mail, because you can't just can't mail stuff like that. And the guy said, "Oh yeah, we know. We got several other complaints." I was like, "Oh, okay, good." So
I'm not the only one then, huh?
Yeah. So
that's funny.
Yeah, but luckily nobody's ever knocked on my door and tried to convert me to anything.
Oh, I had a friend that taught me how to make sure they never come back.
Just open the door naked.
There you go. That's what everybody was thinking that.
Oh, wow.
Just sword in hand. Naked.
Come in, my little ones. I've been waiting for you.
They kept coming during the weekend on a Saturday. Well, she had just come out of the shower and she heard them knocking. She peeked through the window and she saw that they were there. So she decided, when she opened her door, that she would put the towel on her hair, and the rest of her did not have anything, and opened the door and called out Terrell. And after that, no one ever came back. When she opened her door and they were walking through the neighborhood, they kind of ran a few paces.
See, that's funny. I would think it would have the opposite reaction. Like, you know, she'd leave the door and like knock, knock, knock. There'd be like 3 of them there.
Jezebel.
Wow.
Oh,
We just want to talk to you about Jesus.
Praise him, Jesus, hallelujah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it's funny because I don't know if I know I have the looking on my Facebook. I have recently told my mom that I was a witch. That not was, I am a witch. And she's like, when are you planning on telling the family this? If you're so proud of it, what if you were like Presbyterian? Would you be telling them that you're Presbyterian? I'm like, yeah, well, why are you not telling the family? I was like, I will on my own time. So it just got to me to the point that I said, well, screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and just blast her all over my Facebook page. So that's what I did. There you go. Now they know.
That's how you came out to your parents, huh?
That's how I came out to everybody. And now my poor auntie ain't gonna speak to me no more. Oh well. Damn.
Yeah, I was really lucky. When I was younger, my parents were pretty, or my parent, I should say. My parent was really cool about it, and my brothers and sisters were too. So, you know, there was no problem there. But I've heard some people tell some horror stories about it, you know, like they just kind of like just get shunned, you know, and kicked out of the house, even though they were over the age of 18 at the time. So, you know, yeah, I've heard some bad stories about it, but my experience was I had no problem. But then again, my mother was she was like a Unitarian, and then towards the end of her life, she became more Catholic. So when I was when I was younger, she was really just open about religion. She didn't really care, you know.
Yeah.
We're waiting now. Kasia's going to end up with an intervention. You watch and see.
And I'm gonna be like, and then that's when I'll be twitching, like, twitching here.
That's when you'll have to call me on the phone. I'll have to get in my garb and wear my little witchy hat, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna Facebook her. I'll make sure I do you too. I'll make sure I include you into that too, Lokian. Well, I was gonna do a big old seance right there on Facebook.
I have kind of a different opinion about like if you live in a family where you think that like your parents would be unaccepting of it, and or you know, or it might cause problems or whatever, I don't think there's anything wrong with just not telling people. You know, like it's different. Like if somebody outright asks you, like, "Oh, by the way, what religion are you?" You know, maybe you could say it then or whatever. But it's just, I don't know. I just have a different opinion about that. I think if your parents or parent or whoever is pretty open and pretty cool about things, then I think it's okay to, you know, just go ahead and come out and say that, you know, if it ever comes up in conversation.
Yeah. But like I said, you know what? At the end of the day, it's who I am, and I'm still going to be me. And if you don't like the fact that I'm me, then, well, the hell with you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Everybody should be accepting of who you are, regardless of whatever that is, you know.
To hell with you. Exactly. What a wonderfully Christian turn of phrase.
Yeah, really, exactly. Yeah, because I mean, if people can't accept you for who you are, they'll never accept you. You know, so it's like, why? It's actually better just to like cut them out of your life, maybe early on. So maybe I should change my position.
Maybe I should just not deal with you no more, huh?
Yeah. Hey, Animist, how's it going? I'll shoot you a link if you like, Animist. Let me see. Get him in here.
But yeah, it's I just got to the point that all I hear in my head is her voice telling me, "You need to tell the family. You need to tell the family." Okay, I will tell the family.
It's not like you're pregnant.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I am pregnant. Okay.
They would probably accept that better.
I know, right? I'm 18 years old and I'm pregnant. Yeah, They really accept that.
Yeah, that would really freak them out.
Oh my God, you're pregnant? What are you up for? Yes, I'm pregnant. I was like, it's just, yeah. It's just ridiculous that you can't. They have the right to practice what they want, but when it comes to us, they think that we eat children and eat animals and use animals and curse animals and stuff. That's why I wanted to do I'm gonna start a herb series on my channel, and I'm just gonna take my time and explain to them because they probably think when they hear the herbs names like dragon's blood or deer tongue or baby's breath, they think, oh my goodness, oh my God, you're taking a baby's breath away. Oh, you're taking care of a deer. Oh, you killed a deer. Well, I got news for you. Do you eat hamburgers? Yes. Well, you just ate a dead animal.
That's true.
Did you eat a chicken? Yes. You just ate a dead animal. Did you just eat deer meat? Yes. Okay, there you go. So don't come at me all like sideways with that bullshit. So.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with eating meat. There's some people who are against it, but there's nothing wrong with it.
Just like it's nothing wrong with us using certain things in our magic. I mean, it's not like we went out and killed it for animal. We go to like our local grocery store, or if we have a Hispanic market, go to our Hispanic markets or places like that that's already have the animal parts, and we could order it online. So it's not like we go out in the forest and wait for a deer to, hop on by and be like, oh, da 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 da. Oh, I'm gonna shoot a deer today. Boing, I mean,
yeah,
that's what they seem like we do, and we don't. We don't go out and sacrifice an animal. I have a hamster. I love my hamster to death. I mean, I when I had a goldfish, and I believe I told Star this story. I had a goldfish, and the goldfish died. I was in tears, literally, and that's just how I am. I'm very passionate about living things, whether it be a little fish or a hamster, a lizard, a dog, cat, bunny, whatever. That's just my nature. And people just look at us like, oh, we're evil, and we're not. We're human beings just like they are.
Speak for yourself. I'm evil.
You're only evil in your own little way. Not kidding.
Well, it's funny you were talking about the various names of herbs, because there's actually herbs with a lot of names that can be taken different ways.
Right.
So it's really funny. I mean, that's one of the that's one of the things that you find about some older occult books, like the Black Pullet, for example. There's like recipes in there for incense that have like really bizarre ingredients, but it turns out that some of them are names for other things. It's just kind of like a, like there's various names for some plants, and in the Greek papyri is the same thing. There's herbs in there that I don't know, maybe if it didn't translate well or what, but like I think there's one that's lion's heart or something like that, but it actually means something else.
Right.
So it's really so there's some, so like, fox's glove. It doesn't mean you actually are going to go out and get the glove of a fox. It's just that's what the herb is called. Or there's one that's called like an angel's trumpet or something, and that's the same thing. It's not an actual angel's trumpet. That's the name of the herb.
Exactly.
Deadly Nightshade's one of my favorite names. Deadly Nightshade.
Yeah,
That's just so romantic.
It does, exactly. Bring it. No, I think it's belladonna that people used to
Mhm.
rub on their cheeks to bring out the red.
They would put a drop
Oh
of
yeah.
belladonna in their eyes to make them look more attractive.
Yeah, yeah. Drink lead to balance out the humors in your body.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think I'm gonna go do
Good to me.
it now.
yes, yes. It took us a little while to figure out about herbs and alchemy and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I want to do the herb series and take my time. When I first started out as a witch, I just would say, okay, this is this herb, blah blah blah, and there it is there. Um I notice now after I've starting to mature into my craft, um with the guidance of Star, um I'm starting to and watching other people's mistakes. We all know who that is, but we're not going to go there. Watching other people's mistakes, I just came to realize that I'm just going to take my time doing this series because I feel there's newbies out there that need that needs that extra um, guidance on certain things, that extra understanding on what a belladonna is, how do you use a belladonna, what is it used for, etc., etc.
Well,
Or
it's highly poisonous,
yeah,
so you're not going to use it for much. I mean, that people, yeah, and I agree with you, Kasha. I think that's very important. Yeah, yeah, there because I'm not somebody who practices homeopathy or stuff like that, but there are people who do, and they actually take time. They go to school for it. They learn about it, and that's something that, yeah, and I agree with you. It's very important to understand those things because there's a lot of plants out there that are poisonous,
right.
that people might not know that they're poisonous. For example, mistletoe.
Hmm.
The little white berries of mistletoe are very poisonous. And there's other things.
Fly agaric, the Amanita muscaria.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Do,
There's
do you
so many.
have that? Do you have that in America?
Have what? Well, what
Fly
you just
agaric.
said?
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know if
I would
it's
have thought.
native to here, but I think people have grown it here. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would have thought maybe North Canada. You might get it.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, we've got
Now,
Amanita
is it
muscaria.
a thistle? Is it like a thistle, or what kind of a plant
No,
is it?
it's a mushroom. It's the big
Oh, it's a
red
mushroom.
mushroom with the white dots on it.
Oh, yeah. I think they have those in America. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we do have them. I was just actually looking them up today.
oh wow,
Yeah, they're on both coasts.
Mhm.
East Coast and West Coast.
That was what it was saying. Of course, there's several species. Some of them are just pure toxic death, and then of course there's the red ones with the white speckles. Everybody loves so much. But
It
yeah,
looks like
Those aren't the hallucinogenic kind, are they?
they couldn't possibly be. Could they? Yes, they are. Of course, they are.
They are. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the red ones with the white speckles are the mushrooms of the mystics, the fruit of life.
Oh, I didn't know that that's what they. I've seen them dried, but I've never seen them fresh. So that's what they look like fresh, huh?
they remind me. I don't know. I just for some reason they remind me of the mushrooms on Super Mario Brothers.
It's probably what they're copied after.
Yeah, those are the mushrooms that used to get people to drink pee.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Because the funny thing about that particular mushroom is that it has a certain amount of hallucinogen in it, but when it goes through detoxification in the body, a whole bunch of another chemical that it has in it that isn't quite a hallucinogen turns into the hallucinogen. So if you feed the mushrooms to a goat or a reindeer or yourself or another person and then drink the pee, then you get really, really tripped out. Then it becomes much, much stronger.
Yeah.
And this was done by mystics and vision seekers throughout the ages.
Alrighty then.
So, Sitting Bull, your breath smells like urine. Yeah, I was traveling to the other world earlier. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm back now. I'm good.
But I do think that mushroom was imported to North America rather than native to here. I think
I think so too. I think you're correct. I don't think it was native to here, but I think they probably transplanted it.
Yeah. But it's just, yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've done some weird shit to get high before, but I didn't drink piss.
I think we all have. At one.
I think that's my line. You know, between like, you know, casual user and like drug addict. I think that's the line right there.
Exactly right.
Drinking is your limit.
Yes, I think that's it. Yeah, right there. Right there, it's like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. You know.
Peace out. I'm good.
Exactly. I think I'll just get high on life. Thank you very much.
But near here, where I'm living now in South Carolina, of all places, I did find another species of the same genus, but it's called death cap. So it's one you don't eat.
I've heard of death cap before.
Wow. Yeah, I heard that one too.
That's poisonous, right?
Yeah, more than a little bit. It pretty much destroys your liver in one go.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think they've got another one called Destroying Angel. They've got some wonderful romantic names for these things.
Yeah, I think the Destroying Angel is European. I'm not sure, but it is really potent.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's another one called the Stink Horn.
The Stink Horn.
I ain't gonna ask why it's called that.
It looks like a horn and it stinks.
Oh.
There's no rocket science involved.
They're just going along naming stuff. They're like, oh god, it looks like a horn. It stinks like shit. What are we gonna call it?
Stink horn.
You're right. Okay, now this mushroom right here, it's white with the red spots. What are we gonna call this one?
The speckled one. The ugly speckled one. But yeah, this is crazy how we even how back when our witchy ancestors had found ways to use certain herbs to, you know, in their magic to make things happen, and how they're still used today, even though some of them may be poisonous today. Better than before, they didn't have this technology to say, oh well, this is poisonous, that's poisonous, how they would have to find out the hard way. Now we have this technology to where we could find out and, you know, still be able to use it, but use it in a way that we have to be very cautious on how to use them. So
yeah, but they passed along that knowledge, you know, like, you know, you're walking along with your kid one day and you're like, okay, this one right here, you can eat this one. This one right here, don't eat that one, you know.
And definitely not that one.
Yeah, and this one, we only eat that one on special occasions, which you'll find out when you're, you know, when you're older and you're going through, you know, your initiation into manhood or womanhood or whatever, you know.
Yeah, like when you're like 40 years old and you can have that one, but until then, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah, but I often wonder, like, you know, if go back into history and like see, like, you know, how they figured out that certain plants were edible and other plants weren't. Like, you know, they just kind of like
trial and error.
I know.
Yeah, right. One guy would go up and eat a plant, and if he didn't keel over and die, they'd be like, "Okay, all right, this one we can eat."
Yeah, that was
pig, huh?
That was people like me. That were testing those
You were the
out.
guinea pig.
We were the self-taught guinea pigs. Yep, that's the ones. Hey, look, I'll commune with the forest and talk to the plants and talk to the mushrooms and the worms, and then We'll see if we can guess correctly on this question.
We're gonna focus on the animals here. We're gonna mind read with them, okay?
I'm sure probably some of them just saw other animals eating it and figured out from there, oh, that's probably okay to eat.
Yeah, because actually deer will eat, like Amanita muscaria, deer will eat them, and then they act really funny. So yeah, following the animals around, having the animals comfortable with you, that's part of how you discover new edibles.
Right, and then if you see like a deer like sitting there just like tripping out, just staring at a tree,
like,
eating one of these mushrooms, like, okay, maybe that has unusual properties. This little deer's eyes are like pure black. They're just staring at a tree.
Like spacing out, like,
Tripping its balls
whoa,
off.
trip out, dude. Totally gnarly. Hang ten, the California word for surfers. Hang ten, dude. Gnarly.
That is part of the whole thing with getting the wisdom from the wild. You get the animals used to having you around, so they continue to go about their routine, and then you watch what they go through in their routine.
Yeah, it's just amazing though. But like I said, I am so excited about doing this series and just sharing a little about my knowledge on certain herbs that I'm learning about, the do's and don'ts of using them, and a fun way of using certain herbs too. Hint, hint.
And now have you put up a video yet, or are you still working on them?
Not yet. I did do a intro to my herb series. I will be starting my herb series tomorrow, hopefully, if I'm not too exhausted.
Cool.
But that is my plan, is to start it tomorrow. I'm kind of debating. I definitely do want to do on one of the herbs that my sister witch did it on. Or she sent me the one that Star sent me, which is deer's tongue. So I'm doing some research on that as we speak, so that way I could be like, okay, this is what it is, this is what it does, blah blah blah, and go from there.
Yeah, and the way YouTube is, you probably don't even want to talk about certain. Well, I don't know. I guess it's okay. But I just know that they there was some channels that they were selling, or one of their sponsors was the CBD oil. And that was, CBD oil is basically it's made from marijuana, but it doesn't get you high. But it people use it for cataracts, various different the various different healing effects that pot has. And YouTube pulled their sponsor and flagged their videos. So yeah, so just be careful if you talk about drugs on YouTube, because they will crack down on you.
I find that really stupid. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We'll talk about the fun ones like belladonna and aconite.
Yeah. But I find that's funny you say that. I find that really stupid that YouTube does that, because there's videos out there that are vindictive, very hateful of hatred, and just so much
trolling.
Exactly. And they don't pull their videos, and even though how many times people would probably flag that video, it's still up. It's like, you would take down my videos, or you would age restrict my video, but Susie over here is making a video about racist and making racist comments and saying this and that about people and people's private parts and crap, and saying rude shit, but you're not taking their videos down. But
right.
I'm over about something that is about health and important about your health, like like you said, MJ, and little things like that, you know, and that's one, it's legal, and two, it's like it's an herb.
Right. Yeah. So there's two things about it. The first one is your channel's really small. You know, and so they're not going to. You probably won't even get. You probably won't even get caught under their radar or whatever. I think they
Yeah.
really only are concerned about that with channels that are really large, like like more than 50K subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you can probably get away with it. And yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of there's a lot of hypocritical information. There's a lot, or not hypocritical information. There's a lot of hypocritical actions that are done. There's a lot of, it almost seems arbitrary, and it doesn't seem like they hold everybody to the same standard, because I agree with you. There's stuff that happens on YouTube which is really quite disturbing and exploitative. And yet they seem to like crack down on the most ridiculous stuff. Like they were flagging like what was one example that I came across? I think the CBD oil is probably one of the best examples. I mean, here's an example of something that's actually medically proven to help people with, for example, cataracts. And it's CBD oil, so it doesn't have the THC in it, which makes people high. It just has a CBD, and they flag people for that. And then meanwhile, like you said, you have people over here who are just like, just being racist and sexist and just doing all kinds of hateful stuff or whatever, and nothing happens with them.
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree with you, but that seems to be the way that YouTube is. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes I don't understand their logic. I just don't understand it.
YouTube just loves right-wing fundamentalists and hates pagans.
Whoa. No, actually, it's quite the opposite. It's so funny you say that, Animus, because people on the right think that YouTube is like really super left-wing. And so I wonder if like left-wing people think that YouTube is really right-wing.
Really? Because I mean, the fundamentalist Christians get on and openly advocate violence against other religions, and their stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even on bigger channels. But if somebody, YouTube. If you want to know who YouTube really hates, they really hate weapons and reenactment channels. They tear at their videos all the time. In fact, some people have had to start a second channel for hunting videos, because if you show cleaning a fish or cleaning a duck from hunting, they'll cancel your channel potentially. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Or they'll take the video down because they're Bambi. They're 1950s Bambi people.
I think what they should do is kind of like what they did with, I mean, actually, I really don't want them to do this, but rather than have them do all these really bizarre, hypocritical, punishments, they should have a G version of YouTube, an NC-17, an R, and then like and then I don't know what the higher. I don't think X, because that's just going too far. But but having like, I think R is the highest one, but just have it that way. So okay, this show is okay for kids. So the kids aren't going to see like CBD oil or cleaning guns or gutting fish or whatever, but they're also not going to be exposed to like the idiots on YouTube or type in 1488 and all this other nonsense that people think is funny to type in chats nowadays. And then you could have like NC-17, so it's sort of kind of maybe they're using some cuss words and it's a little violent, a little graphic, whatever. And then you can have R, where it's just like adults free for all. They're just going nuts. So I don't know, maybe they'll get to some point where they'll have different versions of YouTube where it's, it's for kids and then whatever other categories it is. I mean, actually, I have complete control over YouTube, Facebook, social media. If there's anybody I don't like, I just stop following them, or if I have to, I block them. I have absolute control. So when YouTube steps in and starts like managing all these little things, micromanaging people. I always just sit there and go, I can do that on my own. I don't need YouTube to come in and do it for me.
Right.
But I can understand, like, if you're a helicopter parent and you plop your kid down in front of the computer and they just sit there and go through YouTube's recommended list. Yeah, then I could see how that could be disturbing, because then you could find out that like your kid is watching something that you deem inappropriate.
Exactly. Yeah, and they do have YouTube Kids, but even the YouTube Kids, they don't go on YouTube Kids. They'll still figure out how to get on the adult, the main YouTube. Just so they could be like, oh, I want to follow Logan Paul, or oh, I want to follow Jake Paul today, or Rice Gum, or PewDiePie, or all those other YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
And they wonder why their kids is like, the way they are.
Yeah. Well, they could probably figure. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could. I don't know. It's something. It's a possibility. It's something that they might be able to implement. Obviously, there's probably going to be ways around it. Like maybe you have to enter in a credit card information, so kids will get their parents' credit card, enter that information in, or something.
Yeah.
Like they have age restriction for some videos. Like you have to be 18 and over in order to watch the video. I don't know how they figure out the actual age of whoever's watching that video. I don't know anything about that. I'm assuming that they have something that says, are you over the age of 18? Yes or no. And you click yes, and they're like, okay, here's your stuff.
Yeah. Or they could lie about
it's
their
probably
age.
just that easy.
Or lie about their birth year, and so that way they could get into, the more adult advanced videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I am so glad my children are grown.
Yeah, right, exactly. You're like, okay, you're old enough, you can watch whatever the fuck you want. I don't care.
Yeah, personally, I think there's a limit to how much we owe other people to raise their children for them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the realization that at some point is going to have to come through, that it's not everyone else's job to parent your children when you can't be bothered to.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Because frankly, a lot of us are quite fine with, teaching children how to fillet fish when they're 7. That's a perfect age to learn how to cook your own food out in the wild.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, they can handle a knife, so they can gut a fish.
Yeah.
So
they should be. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, my child, she's 11, and I am with her when she watches certain things, but lately she hasn't really been watching those YouTubers that I've mentioned, because to her they're like, okay, whatever, they're boring me with stupid stuff, and she goes on and watches more like because she's into Roblox and things like that, so she watches more that's getting more towards video games like Roblox. She watch stuff that has to do with Roblox, or little things like that. She doesn't watch the big time YouTubers like she used to.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, I think as the kids do get older, they see like, oh, okay, Jake Paul is not all that in a bag of chips anymore. I'm over him. I'm just gonna move on, and things like that. So,
yeah, a lot of these bigger YouTubers. I mean, I've heard their name, but I don't watch their content. So, so it's like I hear these names, but I think some of them are just people just follow them just because they're supposed to be popular.
Mm-hmm.
Like I watched PewDiePie a couple of times, and I was like, it's all right. Not really all that exciting, but other people like him, so whatever. But to me, it was kind of boring.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I used to watch Logan Paul and Jake Paul, and after a while, it's like all they talk about is their girlfriends and how much I love my girlfriend, how much I want to. And then the most recent one was the fight with another YouTuber. They're gonna be, oh, this fight's gonna be the biggest fight ever, and I'm gonna beat this boy's ass, and blah 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 blah. And then the other one is like, yeah, you can talk shit all you want, but I'm still gonna beat your ass, and blah 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 blah. It's like, why?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell, you know? That's
Yeah,
like
well,
ridiculous.
drama is really big on YouTube. There's a lot
Yeah,
of people who just they either generate drama or, I mean, most of them they have to keep generating drama to get views because a lot of people like to watch drama. You know, they get into, ooh, so and so is fighting about whatever, and they get into it. And then the other person makes a video response, and they get into it, and people just sit there and they love it. You know, you sit there and eat popcorn and watch these people go back and forth and fight. I find it just I just find it completely boring. You know.
yeah. I mean, it gets to the point that I'd rather watch the soap operas. If I want to watch drama, I'll go watch the soap operas.
Yeah, the
You know,
real
I'll watch
drama.
daytime Yeah, I'll watch daytime television if I really want some drama, or watch let's see, like Basketball Wives or some or the Kardashians or some shit. You know, if I want some real
Mm-hmm.
drama. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Definitely. Yep. Let me see.
at least it'd be real drama with real people. Girlfriend took my man, and I'm about to beat her ass. And no, she didn't take my man, and I told that hoe not to take my man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of those shows I've just yeah, I have no interest in. Like what was it? There was the Jersey Wives. Was it the Jersey Wives or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like I don't know. I think I was flipping around one day and I caught like 5 minutes of it. There were these like really attractive women wearing high heels and jewelry, and I mean they look good. They've got money. I mean, you know, and they're sitting there fighting, like physically fighting. And I was just like, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If I want to watch real drama, I might as well just watch drama on TV at 8 o'clock at night. You know,
Shit, just look out your window in the corner. There's
exactly.
drama right there.
Exactly, right?
It's like,
I don't need YouTube for drama. Shit.
I just sit there and watch like a crack deal go down, go bad in front of me. You know, like, no man, you can't bring me change. You got to bring me dollar bills.
No, man. What did I tell you? Now I gotta bring back.
No, I actually saw this dealer one day, and this guy came up to him, and he was been panhandling for however long. He went up to the guy, and he had like change in his hand. The guy's like, "No, man, you gotta bring dollar bills. I'm not taking that." The guy wouldn't even take his money. He had to go to some place and change it to dollar bills. The guy wouldn't take the money.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That is crazy.
yep. That's if I want to see drama, I got plenty of drama around me where I live.
I live in drama. My whole life is drama. I mean,
Yeah,
start to
exactly.
tell you,
Drama at work.
yeah, started would tell you. I would talk to her. I'd be like, girl, you're not gonna believe what happened at work today. Girl, I came home today and so did this. Girl, I don't need YouTube drama. I got my own drama. So yeah, it's just crazy.
Yep. What the hell happened? Huh? Weird. I think I have to refresh my chat.
Ooh.
You stuck?
Yeah, for some reason I tried to type something and I just think I just have to refresh it because it said an error.
Just be careful not to log yourself out.
Yeah,
well, yeah. If I log myself out, yeah.
Yeah, God knows he'll get control of the chat.
Yeah,
that time. Yeah, that time I invited that person in. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not like just posting the chat here. Sign in the chat? Fuck you. I have to sign in. What the hell? Oh well. I guess it booted me for whatever reason, for some reason. So anyhow, did anybody? Hey, Animus, did you catch the premiere of the Batshit Crazy Zone?
No, I haven't seen anything recently from your channel.
Yeah, well,
It's always possible that I accidentally got unsubscribed by YouTube. I'll check and make sure I'm still.
No. You're fine, Animus. You're still subscribed. It's just me. I've been lazy as hell, not putting out videos. But I put out a video today, and I did. They have this new function in YouTube where you can premiere videos. So I premiered that video just before this hangout. So that's why I was curious. But it's kind of cool. So you can sit there and it premieres the video, and you can sit there in the chat room and you can watch them with other people for the first time. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's all news to me. I'll check it out when I get off. I was working on some other stuff on the computer before I noticed that you had this live stream on.
Okay. Well, that's all right. That's okay. Let me see. I'm
trying to get those novels edited and ready to publish, so I'm kind of trying to work on that.
Nice. Let's see, Stephanie. I don't know if I'm following you on Twitter. I'm trying to remember how I got you in here the last time.
Logan, Stephanie also asked a question about pagans to use the fake it till you make it frame of mind. I just want to let you know she talked about that. She was just
well, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I personally again, when I first started, I before I met you guys and got really comfortable with my craft and starting to know my craft a little bit more, I did in a way fake it, but and then that really didn't work out for me. But once I got more into my craft and starting to know more and get a better understanding, I've learned that if you fake it, as far as doing a ritual or a spell or anything other than that, you're not going to get the best results. You may get a very shitty result. I know, again, like when I first started, I did my first spell, and I think I've done a question on this on my channel. I did my very first spell, and let's just say it backfired like shit. So to answer that question, it's always good to get it's good to read. It's always good to get your resources. Try to get a better understanding, because as you grow, you learn to make mistakes, and I'm learning that a lot. Learning what I'm learning as far as, okay, should I do this spell on this day? No, I shouldn't do it on this day, because if I do it on this day, then what is my reaction for it from this? Or when is a good time to do it? When is a good moon cycle? So you kind of have to pretty much go with the flow. You kind of not go with the flow, but go with what's right. Because I didn't know until I've talked to Star. I didn't know what the hell a void of course was. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, straight up, I did not know what the hell a void of course was.
That's an astrological term, though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't know if you want to do, let's say, a successful ritual or spell, you have to do it at a certain planetary time zone,
planetary hour.
Yeah, you have to do it within that moment, or it's not gonna work out. or you have to do a certain day. Because if you do, let's say, if you want to do like a love spell, you have to do it on a day that incorporates with love. Because if you do it on a different day that doesn't incorporate with that, then you're pretty much screwed.
It's not that you're screwed, it's that the energies aren't as strongly in favor of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times you may have to do a spell and the astrological correspondences may not be excuse me, as correct. But if you've got to do that spell, then you do the best you can. You do that spell.
Well, I think, yeah, I think that's actually that's actually another topic. But let me get back to. I think the fake it till you make it thing is kind of, I don't know. I mean, I think it's really important for people just to understand what it is that they're looking for. Find out what it is that they think, whatever they kind of believe, how you view things. And then from there, kind of figure out what is the best thing for you. When I got into before I got into witchcraft, I was very much into Druidism, and I got into Druidism because I went to the library and I read books about mythology, and I came across Celtic mythology and Welsh mythology, and it just ignited my imagination, and I was just like, wow, this is so cool. And there were like these heroes, and there were these gods, and there were these battles and these things, and I really enjoyed that stuff, and that's how I got into it. I actually got into it to the aspect of trying to figure out, like, oh, okay, well, what does it mean? What was it like to be a druid or a Celt back then? What did they believe? How did they live? And I really got interested in that. So I looked into the history of these peoples in Europe, and to me, it was very fascinating. And so I really got into the gods of the Celts and the Welsh and the Irish. And from that point, I just kind of like, then I found out that about the Druids, and the Druids, there's really not too much information about them. So from that point, I began to kind of like, okay, well, I don't know exactly how, like a Druid celebrates Beltane or Samhain, or I didn't know what it is that they believed or how they practice or anything. So I got into witchcraft because witchcraft was already kind of there was already a framework in place, and it was a way to celebrate and do these things, but there was already a framework. And then later on, I found out that this framework is actually based upon the Western occult tradition, and so it was a part of that magical history that is a part of the Western culture. And so I really got interested in that, and that's how I got into it. So I didn't really feel like I was faking anything. I felt like I was kind of learning stuff. And in the process of learning about that, I started studying, occult philosophy and alchemy and hermetics, and just learning about how humans interact and the universe. And it opened my mind up to other thoughts and other ideas that other cultures have come up with, like Buddhism and Confucianism and Hinduism and even Sufism, and it just, especially Greek philosophy and all these things, it just kind of like sprouted up. So it was kind of like my circle of knowledge began to expand and expand and expand. So I never really feel like I was faking anything, but I never felt like I still am doing. I'm still finding out stuff, still learning stuff. So I feel like my circle is still kind of expanding. So that's how I looked at studying it. And when you're first starting out, whatever it is that you're studying, you really only have a certain amount of information that you're working with. You're working with that small circle, and then as you learn other stuff, that circle begins to grow. That's how I see it. Let me see. So Yeah, Stephanie, Stephanie, you have to send me an email, and then I can send you the link.
Where'd Gary go?
Where'd how go?
Where'd Gary go?
He's here.
I think I'm still here.
You're so quiet.
He pops in and out. So I don't know. I usually have just random people in my chats. I know you've been in my chat before, Kasia. I know Star Dancer's been in here, and Animus definitely has been in here before. Grob is somebody who. What do you like to be called? Grob.
Grobnob.
Grobnob. Okay.
Grobnob.
So, Grobnob. All right. So Grobnob, I actually I came across him when I did this. When I did an interview with Thomas Dunn and the whole Hampstead hoax, and so it was kind of cool. I met this other group of people who he's in the UK, and there's some other people. The one lady, she's from Canada, and they kind of. I mean, how would you describe it? It's almost like a sleuth team of nonsense investigators.
Yeah, well, it's based around a blog that's to do with debunking satanic ritual abuse scandal, which was based in Hampstead, which grew out of a very bitter custody battle between a Russian woman and her ex-boyfriend, and her then current boyfriend actually took the kids on holiday, beat the living daylights out of them, doped them up on cannabis soup, which was strong in THC, by the way, basically forced them to give these testimonies on mobile phone video footage of their father was sexually abusing them, that all the teachers at the school, the local priests, social workers, the police were all involved, and that babies were being sacrificed and eaten at a branch of McDonald's and Starbucks. Our story you've ever heard. And they actually told her then boyfriend's brother-in-law was what we call a special police officer, which is basically an officer. They told him, he passed it on to the real police. The very next morning, they got a knock on the door. The children were taken into care. The whole matter was actually investigated, and they fled the country. And for some reason, people are still insisting that the children were telling the truth when they were actually forced into making these bizarre statements as part of a custody battle. And it all went monstrously wrong. And eventually the kids they've gone back to their father. Their father's got custody of them. And the people who invented this scam have last been seen, believed to have been in Morocco. And people like Thomas Dunn insist on pushing this phony narrative to actually make money out of it. It's pretty disgusting.
So that's how you guys kind of came together is just around this Hampstead case.
Witchcrafter, and he says, I want to talk shit about the crazy Christians, and I mean, I'm pretty much a very new member to it. I mean, I'm not really part of the core team. I'm just sort of a floating commenter, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know. Yeah,
it's interesting. It's interesting.
I know the
always like debunking it.
Go ahead. I think you're roboting in and out because
yeah, I think the connection's going bad at my
try
end.
to hit F5. Try to reconnect. Oh, sometimes that works. Just rejoin the hangout. But yeah, so this one lady, I think she writes it under the name Coyote, El Coyote. But yeah, she wrote a great blog on this whole Hampstead case. It's really interesting. I've kind of given up. Like a lot of my videos, I try to put information in there and try to give it to people, and my hopes are that, like, people will watch the video, they'll look at the links, they'll visit the links, they'll find out for themselves, oh how this is actually bullshit. But it's like, I don't know how how it actually changes anybody's mind anymore. I don't think it does change their mind. So it's like, at this point, I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just going to have fun with these videos. I'm still going to provide information for people who want it, but I've just given up on the fact that anything you give to these people will change their mind. I think at some point they make up their mind that something is real, and that's it. They don't care. You could give them a mountain of evidence and they would still sit there and adamantly shake their head and say, no, it happened. And it's crazy.
I think you have to play it to inform the people who might listen to the con men or the scammers or the whatever they are. I think that's the people that you can help more, because you're not going to convince Snuffleupagus to change his tune. That's not going to happen, because he knows he's lying to start with. So right. all you can do is hope that some of the people who've been listening to him may see a link to your thing and come and go, oh, I guess it is all bullshit. There was somebody kind of famous. I can't remember. There was a famous atheist who had been some kind of Christian minister or something, and he was in Iceland, and he was doing something there, talking to people there, and one of the Icelanders, God bless the Icelanders, he got done with his spiel on the street, and one of them just said, it's all bullshit, right? In a very matter-of-fact tone of voice. And he said that changed his life, just hearing that in a very matter-of-fact tone of voice. And I think those are the people that you can help. The people who somewhere deep inside, they have common sense, but they've only had access to the information they've had access to, and maybe they've been kind of led down a path somewhere, and those are the people you can help. Otherwise, you're just have fun preaching to the choir, and we'll all have a good time laughing together.
Yeah, that's pretty much how Animus. That's pretty much how it's gone at this point. I'm just like, I'm just gonna make videos to entertain me and the people who enjoy watching them. And yeah, if somebody does change their mind, that's fantastic. But you know what I mean. That's not my main motivation. My motivation is getting feedback from people watching my videos who say, hey, I enjoyed this, I got a chuckle out of it, or whatever. That's what I enjoy. If I don't think I've gotten emails from people who say that they were Christians and they said, hey, I'm not a pagan, I'm a Christian, but I really enjoyed, because what this guy was talking about is bullshit and we know it. And so that I thought was really cool. I was like, oh, wow, here's somebody who's, they're a Christian and they know that this is bullshit too. And I thought that was really good. But I've never gotten an email from somebody saying that I changed their mind, Yeah,
well, encouraging the moderates is a legitimate thing to do, because, the moderates are the people who are going to be good neighbors. And the more moderates there are, the harder it is for the fanatics to give other people actual trouble. I don't have a problem with people being Christian. There's fine aspects of the philosophy that people can live their life by and have virtues and all this stuff. I kind of wonder why, if they're not descended from people from the Fertile Crescent, why they would choose that system, but they do. And that's okay. And if that works for them, that works for them. You can't control what speaks to you necessarily. Yeah. So, but it is important for them to not take it to the point of throwing rocks through windows and beating people up in the street.
Yeah, right. So exactly.
For every moderate that you enhearten, that may be a moderate that keeps somebody from becoming a fanatic. Yeah. And hi, Stephanie.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Stephanie, how's it going? You finally got my. I looked down at my. I didn't get a notification about my email. I looked down and she had sent me 2 emails. I was like, oh shit.
You were like, you need to send me an email. I'm like, I just did.
I am so sorry. I didn't, because usually I hear like a little ding or something, a little notification.
I saw her pop in.
I popped in and I was really quiet because I was trying to figure out like where all this conversation was going because I was not paying attention.
Oh, it's going wherever the hell it ends. It goes. I mean, I've given up on trying to control these and direct them. You know, especially when Animist is in here. We just at some point, if Animist is in here, we're gonna talk about squirrels. I hate
squirrels.
It's just the way it is.
Well, it's funny that when you guys have mentioned about Christianity and how we get along, how we all should get along as as a good society. I had to put myself on pause for a minute because I just got on the phone with my aunt that's in another state, and let's just say she was not happy with my post that I put on my Facebook.
Ooh.
So we're supposed to get along with Christians that are being rude to us, or just in general with all Christians? Because I've seen people on both sides of that saying that, oh, even if they're being rude to you and being terrible to your face, that you should basically like do the Christian thing and turn the other cheek.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think in Kasia's case, she came out of the broom closet via Facebook.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And I just got a phone call. She was telling me, that's not who you are. People that are witches are believe in the demon and this and that, and that's not
I actually believe that more now.
Yeah.
Well, no, I started a new job and we got this girl in, and she's like 18 years old, black girl, and I'm having to explain everything to her. No, we do not worship Satan. No, we do not sacrifice babies. Oh my God. Because every time anything comes up now, I'm the go-to, hey, you're that freaky pagan girl. Tell me about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, dude, so you're telling me it's not okay to be different? You're telling me just because I choose to be a witch, I'm not all there? If that's for somebody that's not saying that I could lose my job because of my belief. If that was the case, then there's a person at my job that's a Muslim, and she wears her hair scarf. So if it's wrong for me to wear if it's wrong for me to wear my pentacle, then it's wrong for her to wear her scarf.
Well, no, I mean, I was going more along the lines of like, they're generally misinformed, not that, they're actively attacking us. I don't know.
Yeah, right. It's just people just don't understand. They maybe they see a YouTube video by a call for an uprising or Bill Schnoblin, and they just assume like, that maybe we're not like actually sacrificing, babies and killing virgins and drinking their blood and grinding up the meat, but they might believe such nonsense as in like, I don't know, drinking blood or that we actually worship Baal or, I mean, that's the thing is that there's just so many levels of bullshit. It's like, there's the stuff that's just like completely outrageous. And then there's stuff that's kind of like ridiculous. And then there's stuff that's kind of like, oh, well, that, it's believable, but it's still bullshit,
Right.
And that's the stuff that gets me is that stuff that sounds kind of like it might be real and it's actually not real,
Just think it's kind of funny because weren't the Christians, when they first started coming out, they were being persecuted because everybody heard about like blood rituals and eating of flesh and stuff, and it was just like wine and bread, and they were like, oh no, it's symbolic. And now we're doing the same thing. Basically, we're like, no, it's just symbolic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the early Christians when they came out, but I mean, yeah, they were a small cult, and a lot of the pre-Christian cultures around there, yeah, they kind of poked fun of them, and they worshipped fish or whatever, and yeah, they were made fun of, but
Yeah.
I think everybody does, and yeah, I'm sure they were probably persecuted too, but it seems like later on, I mean, you don't hear this from Buddhists, you don't hear this from Hindus, you don't hear this from other religions in the entire world. It just seems to come from, and in defense of other people who are Christian and Catholic and Presbyterian, Lutheran, and all those other factions, it does seem to be just a small group of evangelical Christians who believe that all pagans and all other religions in the entire world are constructs of Lucifer, and and there's all this other nonsense that they believe. It seems to be a small minority, really. And most of the Christians, Catholics, Presbyterians, whatever you want to call them, Christian-based or Abrahamic-based religions, they're living their life. They're doing what they do, and maybe if they convert somebody, maybe they're happy about it, but they're not like putting other people down. So it seems like it's kind of a small group of people, but like with the Kasia's parents, yeah, I mean, you have some people who are like, Christians, and they're, if like their baby girl or whatever gets converted over to witchcraft, they start freaking out. So.
Yeah, I think when your kid converts to a religion or philosophy that's not evangelical, I think that has to force you to look at it in a more substantive way, because nobody told you to be Wiccan or a witch or a pagan. Nobody told you to join. It's something people do on their own.
Right.
Exactly.
We're not evangelical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you guys put a pistol to my head and say, "You better be pagan or else."
Exactly.
My
Yeah,
mom
and
still doesn't understand it. Oops, sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Oh, she's taking me to this Jesus, jeans, and jazz thing, and she's trying to make it all like, oh well, I'm trying to make friends and stuff, and I'm not gonna go unless somebody goes with me. And I'm like, Mom, really? But yeah, she thinks it's like an immature, childish thing, and that I'll grow out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. They're like, oh, it's just a phase. She'll grow out of it. Yeah. 20 years later, I'm still a witch. I haven't grown out of it yet. I'm a witch now. I'm gonna be a witch till I die. So there you go. Damn it.
Oh, okay. All right. Later, Star Dancer. Take care.
Bye, Star.
Yeah. It's funny. There, I think there was one video I was responding to or whatever, and this was somebody who was like, quote unquote ex-witch, and they were talking about how when they left this coven, like they got stalked, and like people were calling them and telling them they had to rejoin, they were going to curse them and their family, and I'm like sitting here going, okay, we have people coming and going from our group, and we don't care. You know what I mean? It's like you could show up to your group or your friends and just say, hey, you know what, I've converted to Christianity. I just don't believe this stuff. I don't follow it anymore. And we'd be like, oh, okay, well, cool. What are you doing next? What are you doing on Saturday? You want to hang out and get something to drink? It's like, we don't fucking care. I mean, if you want to, whatever you want to be, as long as you're still a decent person and you're not like out hurting people, we don't care.
Yeah.
I just think it's just stupid. I just think that the people that don't understand, what a pagan is, they need to understand it. And that's why I made my channel, so I could at least try to be that beacon of light to some. I mean, I know I'm not going to be a beacon of light to ignorant people because there's going to be people that are ignorant, but just to prove to them that, hey, I'm still a human, regardless of me being a witch or not. If I was atheist, are you still gonna hate me? If I was a Muslim, are you still gonna hate me? Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry.
I mean, it shouldn't matter. If I was Buddhist, are you gonna hate me? You know, it shouldn't matter. You know, you're still a human being. You still have the same. You still breathe the same air. You know, and whatnot. So it's just madness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that happens. I think that happens on a lot of fronts because people get so wrapped up into identity politics, and it's like, who are you? What do you? It's like it seems like we care more about what people identify with rather than who they are as an individual. I mean, like if I find out somebody's, for example, a practicing witch or whatever, but they're a fucking asshole, I don't want to associate them. Even if they do identify with the same thing that I identify with, they're just a fucking asshole, and I don't want to deal with them. And whereas I've met somebody who's like, like a conservative Republican, like somebody's completely opposite of me, but they're a decent person, and they're not anything like your stereotypical conservative. They're just a decent person. It's just that they have a different outlook on things. But people get so wrapped up in, putting people in boxes like, oh, okay, you're a witch and you're a Christian and you're this and you're that. And everybody puts people in boxes. It's like, yeah, that's nice, but what do when it comes down to it, are you a decent person or are you not a decent person? That's what's important for me. Everything else is secondary.
I agree with that.
That was really long, dude. That was really, really long. I'm like,
that was a pregnant pause.
Like,
sorry, I'm trying to work with some other items that I've got going on around me.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm joking with you.
Sure you are. Like secretly inside, you're like assholes.
I don't always have an entire homily loaded. Sometimes I just have to throw in a quip.
Well, no, I mean, I've watched people on YouTube, and after a while, I'm watching. I'm like, I just don't agree with whatever they're saying, or I'm like, okay, this is just not my cup of tea, and I just stop following them.
I was checking my phone. Yeah, you got to tell me it was.
You might want to put yourself on like mute or something. We can hear your person in the background.
Oh, sorry, that was me, my daughter. I'm talking. I thought I had you guys on mute.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. Yeah, just mute yourself. So, Stephanie, I really want to ask you so many questions, but I don't know what you can say. But how are you enjoying your group?
I'm enjoying it really. Like I really enjoy it. Like that's the whole reason I decided to join. That sounds so weird. It's like yes. The smelly smell that smells smelly. I started doing their like basically it's like outer court stuff because it's a really, really small Gardnerian coven, and so the outer group is really huge because nobody wants to join the Gardnerian coven and go through all the steps to do all that because they don't have time or etc. So I mean I'm allowed to say certain things because it's just obvious and it's all out there on the internet anyway. But I mean anything that's like
it's outer court. Yeah.
Yeah. So outer court stuff is apparently way different than inner court stuff, and I'll be doing outer court stuff for like the next 6 months or so, and then apparently if they like me, then they'll keep me, and then I can do inner court stuff. Yep, getting naked in front of a lot of other people. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, probably what they'll do is they'll ask, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you seem like a good fit for the group, they'll probably, well, I mean, I'm sure they'll explain it all to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've already had like a really long chat. They're starting to give me like material and stuff like, hey, go ahead and start researching this. Like, I can say this because it's out there, but they told me to go ahead and read Thorn Mooney's traditional Wicca book and to read the Kabbalion.
The KY Kabbalion or the Cabal KAB? I think you're talking about the Kabylion, right? KYB.
KYBALION.
Yeah, the Kabylion.
By the 3 initiates. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they told me to go ahead and start on all that, and we'll discuss it. And I'm like, oh god.
Nice.
I know, it's fun.
Yeah.
So
good.
yeah.
And then how do you like them? Do they seem like decent people?
Well, I've actually been going to their outer court stuff for over a year now, so yeah, I really like them. The thing is that I respect the high priest and the high priestess. They're really chillax people. They're older, and so they pretty much like, we've seen it all, we've done it all, so whatever.
Mm-hmm, right. Yeah, they're not getting wrapped up in little bullshit.
Yeah. Another thing I like is that they don't do any of the drama stuff like YouTube does. They don't do any of that. They're like, oh yeah, we kind of talk to these people and these people from like basically the mother coven, and then they're like, but we don't do any of the inner court weird shit like they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I just got to say, it's always really funny to listen to a couple of Gardnerians try to talk to each other.
I know.
While you're dancing around all the stuff that you can't say for absolutely no good reason from anybody else's point of view. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, hey, Animist, if you ever tell me a secret, you have my word that I will keep it.
Yeah, that's the great thing, and that's the ultimate irony. That's actually
that's just the way that I look at it. I look at it as like, well, I made a promise, I keep it.
Yeah.
Oh
see, now you guys hold to it.
but from my point of view, that's extra ironic because if I'm talking to somebody, I'm desperately trying to find some way to get them to get
right,
it.
Exactly, yeah. Trying to figure out, okay, what exactly are you saying? Wait a second. Right, exactly. So you don't misinterpret something, or can you be more clear about that? Actually, no, I can't.
Exactly. It's the exact opposite problem. The Gardnerians have all this stuff that is super secret for no reason because anybody can understand it. In fact, I think it was Alex Sanders who said you could tell all the deepest inner secrets in public and it wouldn't matter because the only people who would understand it were the people who were appropriate to understand it.
Right. Exactly.
Whereas with shamanism,
it's understandable in context of what you're doing, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's why it's a secret.
But then with shamanism, we sort of give up trying to explain things to people because the language itself isn't adequate to try to explain it because it's all nonverbal. Yeah. And so the irony there is just extra delicious.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Animus, I've never really had too awful much trouble. Every now and again I will, but mostly I understand everything you're saying. Dude, you have these really awesome thoughts and ideas, and I'm just like, please tell me more.
You even like his squirrel stories?
Dude, I like all his stories.
I gotta know the squirrel story. I want to know the squirrel story. No.
He normally keeps the squirrel stories away from me because I hate squirrels.
I knew this was going to happen. Go ahead, Anna.
Do the squirrel story.
I didn't start it up. I don't have many great stories about squirrels. I just mentioned that I talk to them all the time because that's a way of showing the difference between, systems. It's, everyone else is talking about their politics and stuff. And then I just go, I talk to squirrels. That's what I do. I don't have any real politics going on. I don't understand pop culture. I'm out talking to squirrels, and they're not saying anything terribly important.
No.
Maybe I should try to say I talk to hamsters.
Yeah, same thing. They're just happy to be them, doing their thing, and
exactly.
there's definitely a lesson to be learned there. But the irony is, it's kind of become a meme in this way in our little group here. And the truth is, it's not even one of my hosted spirit. It's not something I have a deep relationship with. It just comes up that way because it's kind of everyone gets it.
Yeah. I know. I'm just messing with you.
I like it when you do that.
It makes it more interesting.
No, it was just like he and I were hanging out one day, and I don't know, he mentioned something about talking to squirrels, and it just struck me as just like the perfect image of animist, and then I think like the next time we had a hangout, like a couple weeks later or something, it somehow it came up again.
Oh wow!
Poor
like,
Animus.
okay, all right, so I mean,
I can't
Yeah.
wait until you start doing
Talk
videos
about
in Animus.
hamsters.
Yeah, I discovered I'm basically I've got a little Mac Mini computer that's like 6 or 7 years old, and it's just not capable of hosting these things or doing YouTube videos. So I'm going to have to get a new computer in order to do what we all apparently want me to do.
We all want you.
And
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even understand why, so it's hard to keep motivated about it.
But we love you. You're
Well,
awesome.
and I love you. But
Yes, we want to know more about squirrels.
Yeah, you want to know, okay, so for the sake of the squirrels, maybe I think for my first episode, when I am able to do YouTube videos, I'm going to have to do like a 30-minute video about squirrels and little
you should do a series. You should do a series on it.
Do a series on squirrels. Hey, if you do a series on squirrels, I'll do a series on hamsters.
Squirrels aren't that deep. I think 30 minutes pretty much is going to exhaust the entire topic of squirrel spirituality.
Exactly. You're pretty much hitting rock bottom right there. It's okay, 30 minutes. That's it. That's tops.
Squirrels run on a daily routine and an annual cycle, and that's really all they've got. But when you're living in a place, they're one of those creatures in the environment that's doing that thing. So you can kind of rate yourself on that. They're kind of like one of those baseline creatures that are simple. They're simple creatures just going about their business. And, and here we are talking about squirrels again. God, you got me into it.
Hey, I asked you to. I said, all right, because we were talking about the squirrel story. So you just had to start talking about them.
Yeah, let's talk about squirrels.
Well, what's weird is now I'm in this new environment and I'm not adapted to it yet because I really haven't been able to go out and do wild wood stuff. But
aren't you in South Carolina or something?
Yeah, I'm in South Carolina and I am not seeing them. They are just not around. I don't know if it's a season thing because it is whatever passes for fall going on winter in South Carolina, which is still me going outside sweating most days. But, I'm
hey, at least you're not on fire like we are. We're burning up over here.
Where are you?
Where are you?
And I'm in Southern California.
Oh God, I lived in California for a while, and it's amazing how flammable that state is.
Yeah.
The way you said that, flammable.
Sorry. I'm just like, maybe we should just set it off. Like poof, there it goes.
Yeah, well, that's actually how you control it. You have controlled burns, but I don't think California has had controlled burns for a very long time, or maybe there's some parts that they just can't have controlled burns because it's private property. I know in like the Oakland Hills for a while they had goats that just went around and just ate stuff, and it was helpful. But in the natural world, like if you take man out of the equation, they have, something happens, lightning happens or whatever, and it has like a little fire and it just burns all the lower bits, and then that stuff burns away and it helps to feed the soil. But it never gets higher than that. But when but we don't allow little burns to happen, and so what happens is the needles and all the stuff that lands on the floor just kind of builds up and builds up and builds up. And we had so many dry years that there's just like this layer of just kindling, just like, you sneeze and it just ignites,
I'm just imagining that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. And as far as, sorry, go.
Oh, and it's funny you said that because when we had the Thomas fires out here last year, it had forced like all the animals to come into the town. Recently, I don't know if it had died down, but we had coyotes in our own city, and it's like, okay, we weren't really supposed to have coyotes in the city. But at the same time, I understand because their home is being destroyed, the mountains is being destroyed. And now, since we had this new fire close to the year anniversary of the Thomas fire, it's like, and mind you, it started by somebody that's really don't, it's not a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, campfire, that's decided to like, hey, let's have a campfire. Oh shit, I don't know how to turn it off. It's like,
Oops.
what the hell? Why? So it's like it's crazy, and the crazy part about it, with it being a day after we had a shooting out here, in Thousand Oaks, so it's like, are you friggin' kidding me right now? First we had a shooting, a day later we have a fire. Why?
Yeah.
So it's really crazy. California has been one interesting state. Yeah. From mudslides to earthquakes, and now we have shooting, and now we have another fire.
Yeah, I mean the shooting is, I mean that's just, I mean, I don't know. This is kind of off topic, but it's kind of like I kind of get upset about, they talk about these shooters, and yet stuff that happens in inner cities where people get shot all the time, they don't really seem to talk about. But you know, yeah, I mean it's I don't know. I'm not going to get into it, but it just well, actually, I am getting into it, but it just seems like there's other issues going on besides the weapon. They
Right.
focus on the weapon so much. It's like, okay, you take away guns, people have knives. So what do we get? Be like England? We're going to confiscate people's knives? So they don't have knives now; they have trucks. Okay, so now what are we going to do? We going to confiscate trucks? It's like you can keep treating the symptom, but you're not actually treating the root cause, of
Right.
it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but mental illness is not something that they want to put their money into. I mean, we have to have more jets, right? And the military budget needs to be expanded on. I don't know. I'm just saying
yeah,
that
but the military doesn't
that
have
was a
anything to
joke.
do with. Oh, okay. But anyhow, yeah, because the military doesn't have anything to do with, like the Thousand Oaks shooter.
Yeah, no, the thing is, what I'm trying to be sarcastically asshole-ish about is that our government's willing to spend money on literally anything else but the mental health of their people, and that's
Right.
really what they need to do. We need to have like more in-depth classes where we go over things like, okay, this is what you do when somebody says no, and this is how you deal with your emotional problems, instead of telling people to bottle it up, oh, suck it up and deal with it. We
Exactly.
really should be, helping them and showing them better ways to deal with things.
Yeah.
And
Because
especially
it
with
seems
the
like, hold on one second, because it does seem like some of these shooters are, in a weird way, it's like they're crying out for help. I mean, in kind of a weird way, that's what they're doing. So yeah, I agree with you, Stephanie. And I know that when Ronald Reagan was governor of California, we had mental institutions where people could go in and get help, and they gutted the funding for that. So the only people who were committed to these psychiatric hospitals were people who were in direct danger to themselves or other people. Everybody else was released out into the, to fend for themselves, basically. If social services or their family or friends couldn't help them, they ended up on the street. And that's where you see a lot of them today.
And it's
I think actually, sorry, keep going.
Oh, and it's funny that you said that, because one out here, the Camarillo, used to be Camarillo State Hospital, is now a university. So it's like, well, why making a hospital that's for the mentally I don't want to say mentally ill, but the mentally bothered.
Mentally bothered doesn't make any sense. You could say mentally ill because it actually makes sense.
Oh, well, the mentally ill, why are you going to take away a hospital for the mentally ill and make it into a college? Why not just better that hospital and put the college somewhere else. I mean, that's not right. You know, it's like it's stupid.
Yeah.
And you wonder why there's these shootings or there's these issues with homeless people and things like that. But you're gonna take away something that they're used to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and go ahead, Stephanie, and then I'm going to say something.
Oh, I have no idea what I was thinking. Do whatever.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I was just going to say just to put this out there. I think that our society doesn't really understand mental illness very well, and you know, a lot of people deal with mental illness, and there's various levels to it. But it's just like anything else. It's something that you have to deal with. Like, let's say if you have diabetes, you understand that there are certain things you have to do, and you have to have your medication, and it's just something that you deal with. And that's the same way I look at a lot of mental illness that people deal with. It's they can function in it. It's just that there are certain things that they have to do to understand and keep it in check. And in their defense, I think a lot of the shootings that we've been having lately, I don't know if those people were quote unquote had mental issues. You know, I haven't looked into it, and so that's my own ignorance. I could be completely wrong, but I think most of them are just kind of they're angry, or they're frustrated, or there's something, you know, or they feel society wronged them, or you know, whatever. And I think that that's what they're acting out on, and it was allowed to get to this point because, you know, we don't have any low level ways for people to deal with issues. You know, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like, okay, you have to survive in this world. It's really difficult, and okay, good luck. You know, it's kind of like, oh, okay, so, and there's a lot of crap coming at everybody nowadays. You know, everybody's getting flack and getting anger directed towards them, or you know, people are discriminating them or don't like them or whatever. And it doesn't seem like anybody's immune to it. You know, everybody suffers it in one way or the other.
Yeah. Now, I kind of want to add something onto that is that I think some of the shooters are doing it for the attention. Like, you know, we put them up on the TV and they're basically famous and we're like dissecting them. Like, why did they do it? And it just kind of goes down to they wanted their 5 minutes of fame and they don't give a shit after that. Like, they don't hold, you know, their lives in, I guess, higher esteem. Like, you know, oh, I want better for myself instead of to end up in jail. So what I think we should do is not put their names up on the TV. If we stop putting the shooters' names up on the TV, stop talking about them, I'm pretty sure we can kill off some of those guys. They're like, oh, I'm only doing it for the fame, and now I can't get famous from it, so, you know, guess I'm not going to do it. Yeah,
I agree with you, Stephanie. Like, for example, the person who shot up that synagogue. You know, it's kind of like yeah, and I agree. I don't think we should put the names of these people out. The names of the people who do it. The
shooters,
the shooters. We should not glorify them. We should remember the victims and who they were, and you know, the family that they left behind and the friends they left behind. That's what we should remember. So yeah, I agree with you. But I don't think that some people are like, "Ooh, I'll get my 5 minutes of fame if I do this." They might, but yeah.
Well, I was just throwing it out there because that's one of the very small reasons that some people shoot up places is because they're not like thinking straightforward, I'm going to get 5 minutes of fame. No, they're like, oh wow, all these people on TV, you know, I'm going to do it too. It kind of happened with what were those fuck boys that were running around? The nobody pretty will have sex with me. Oh, I'm sorry. I call all jackass guys fuck boys if they're, you know, stupid as hell. It's those guys that, what was their stupid little thing that they had? It was basically like, the women that I want to have sex with won't have sex with me, and therefore, you know, I'm unintentionally, I don't remember what it was, but they're like, you know, I'm being forced into not having sex with people.
Okay. You're talking about involuntary celibate.
Oh yeah, those stupid little
Okay.
fuck boys.
So, but who? Okay, but who?
Some of them were like, you know, popping up on their stupid little website saying, oh, you know, we should all start go shooting it up and then, you know, get our name out there basically. So that was one of those dumbass things, and that's why I'm like, we should definitely stop putting their names out.
I see. Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree with you. I think that like I said, there's just so much stuff going on. It's like social pollution is the best way I can describe it. It's gotten so thick out there. So yeah, I understand. I understand how young males can feel that way. It doesn't justify them,
Young
blaming
females
women
don't have
for it.
sex.
Huh?
I'm like, young women aren't running around going, hey, all these hot dudes aren't having sex with me, so I'm involuntary too.
But Stephanie, you also have to understand that despite how our society says, women control the mating ritual. So
not really.
And they should.
And then so how do they not control it, Stephanie?
They should.
That's what the whole, like, you know, getting the drunk girls drunk and stuff.
Yeah, but you're not answering my question.
We don't control the mating ritual if we're afraid, or if we're basically forced into it.
Yeah, absolutely, you don't. But I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is this is what I was getting at. So what I was talking about was that's why I said it's kind of different in our culture. Men, if they could attract mates, they would go out and, probably screw until they dried up. That's if they could. If you're a young 18-year-old male and you could just have as much sex as you wanted, you would probably do it. But women don't do that. They're much more pickier. But that's biological. They need to be that way because there's consequences if they engage sexual activity, there's a consequence of it. They might get pregnant, So, but as far as it goes for the quote unquote mating ritual, what I'm saying is women basically can control that. They have that. They know, like, if you want to go out and pick up a guy, chances are you probably can. If you lowered your standards and probably pick up.
I don't want to lower. That's just
if that's the case, how come I'm still single?
I know, right? Me too.
I don't know.
Well, that's because we won't lower our standards enough to get those.
Right, exactly. Whereas guys, they probably would.
I have to honestly say. No, it's okay. I have to honestly say I have lowered my standards to the point that I told myself, you know what, little fucker, I'm sick of you. I'm done with you. I don't know what the hell was I thinking. And when I finally came to my senses, I look back, and especially now because this person is on Facebook, I look back at his picture. I'm like, what the hell was I smoking for 7 years?
Maybe you were just really, really drunk for a while.
Mentally drunk.
Yeah.
And that's your right. You have the right to go through that for yourself in your own way, for your own reasons, for exactly as long as you feel like it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it was a good idea. It just right.
So I think those people who identify as involuntary celibate, I think what it is they get angry and they get frustrated because they're not able to, find somebody to be a mate with. But they don't understand their own value. They don't understand what makes them attractive. They don't understand how they can. I think maybe they're lacking a really strong male role model in their life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I can think, because, women, they can be flirtatious. They can wear clothing that's maybe more revealing. They can put makeup on. They can make themselves attractive in that sense to attract, maybe they just do it to build up their own confidence, or maybe they do it for work, or maybe they actually are trying to get a mate. Whereas men, we don't have that ability to make ourselves physically attractive, but there are aspects of males that women do find attractive, but they're aspects of confidence, power, money, personality, having a good heart, being a good person, being a strong person. There's a lot of characteristics that men can develop that will make themselves more attractive. But it's not really like, I don't know what it is exactly, but they just don't have this. They don't have that access to this information, so they get angry. They say, oh, I'm here online and I'm flirting with all these girls, or I'm out there and I'm talking to girls, but girls don't seem to be reacting to me. It's like, what am I doing wrong? Am I ugly? And so it's like they kind of create this, I don't know, it's almost like I don't know but I don't know exactly what it is about those incels, but I think I try to kind of understand where they're coming from. It doesn't make it right. I'm just trying to understand it, and I think that's maybe one of the, I don't know, maybe that's one of the best ways to describe it. I could be completely wrong.
And with me, I think the reason why I'm still single is because I haven't found anybody that is on my level, I guess you could say, or above my level as far as conversation wise. I'm a type of person that likes to maintain somebody that has to maintain a conversation, somebody that I could pretty much click with. If I can't click with you, then we got a problem.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So and I realized that when I look back at my past relationship, I was asking myself, okay, why was I with this person? Let's see. It's because I was desperate. That's why. So I have to take a step back and be like, okay, so I won't make this mistake again. What am I looking for? I'm looking for somebody that is on my level, somebody that's at least a little above my level, somebody that is understanding, somebody that's not going to be a narcissist, somebody that's, etc. The list goes on pretty much, because like you said, we could be picky with who we want to be. We don't want to be with somebody that's lazy as hell. If you're a working woman, we don't want them to sit around playing video games like it's a thing to do, or sit on their ass and eat popcorn and bonbons, quote unquote.
Yeah. You want a man. You don't want another boy you have to take care of.
Yeah, I mean, I already have a child. I don't need another grown ass child to take care of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that, and looking back in the history of my relationships, yeah, there were some that I probably got into where I should have been more selective, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's just natural that we as human beings, we just don't understand our own value. We don't understand what good of a person we are, and maybe we do kind of lower the bar a little bit, or maybe think that this is the best I'm going to get, or and yeah, I think we're like the harshest critics of ourselves. And I think that some of these people who really want to find a relationship, they just I don't know, maybe they just really start to really look at themselves and kind of tear themselves down, and they don't understand how valuable they are.
Right.
And let's be honest, there's a whole bunch of people who don't realize how shitty they are.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
And they're out there whining and complaining while they're continuing to insist on being shitty and not worth investing somebody else's time in because they're lazy.
Exactly.
And an awful lot of the noise you get out there is going to be people who refuse to improve themselves who want everyone else to lower their standards because they're lazy people. And
that's my main issue.
I mean, let's face it, that is the other half of the problem, is there's a whole bunch of shitty people who wish that the world would lower its standards to include.
Exactly.
And you can't be afraid to call that. You have to call that when it's going to involve your personal life and your personal time, or, you know, in the case of women, potentially making a baby. You really have to draw that line pretty clearly in the sand and say, no. This is not somewhere I want to go.
Right.
Because we got plenty of humans on this planet. We don't need to make more of the bad ones.
Exactly. I have to say, I was pretty, in spite of the fact that my ex-husband wasn't all roses. I have to honestly say, out of the whole connection between him and I, we turned out to have a wonderful little girl. She ain't little, but we have a wonderful daughter.
Named Aaliyah.
And that's her in the background. And I have to say, she's turned out to be very smart in her ways. You know, she acts grown for her age. It's like, who the hell are you, little girl? So, I mean, there could be some, I mean, you could be matched up with the world's ugliest or baddest assholes, but there's also but it's also depending on the parent, you know, and how you raise your child too. If you raise your child to be a bigot or a hypocrite, then that's how you raise them. Or you could just raise them to be, you know, who they are, and have them love themselves or love around them. And if you show that respect to your child or show that love to your child, then that child will pick up on that, instead of the hate and the anger and the bigotry and things like that. So it also depends on, no matter who you connect with, it also should depend on how you raise your child too.
Yeah, that's a big responsibility, you know, raising a child.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the fortunate things about humans. And I don't have a lot of good things about humans, so here's one.
Oh, come on.
I don't. You know I don't. In general. But one of the great things about humans is that they are so much the nature versus nurture thing, that you can have two really flawed people, and you can be one of those really flawed people. But if you manage to create the right environment for the child you produce, even if you're a complete screw up, you manage to produce that good environment, you can make somebody who is so much better than you that it absolutely astounds you that they even exist. And that is one of the real strengths of humanity as a species. And I think that is to be celebrated and encouraged. And that's a very pagan idea, that, you know, you can make your children better than yourselves, because you don't have to force them to inherit all of your trash. And that is mighty. That is a mighty thing that you can give to the next generation of humans.
Yep.
End of rant.
No, I agree with that. Go on.
Oh, that's all right. Go ahead.
Well, no, I finally, so my parents are older. They're like in their 60s or so. And my stepdad always has this big rant about how, you know, the younger generations and stuff, you know, that thing that people do. And I finally got him to admit today that, you know, the younger generations are not total trash, because he's like, oh, they're so weak. And I finally got him to admit, he's like, well, you know, they're physically weaker, but they're actually a lot smarter than we are. He's like, that's good, because that's what they need now. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I finally got him to say something nice about, you know, younger generations.
Yeah, getting grumpy old guys to say something good about young people says good things about you, that he has perceived you that way.
It took years. It'll take years more. He'll be dead by the time he's fully trained.
Men are only marginally trainable. You can kind of train their behavior. You can never train their attitudes. It's just not possible. When they finally solidify somewhere in their mid-20s, they're stuck that way. You can.
That's
No,
not
I don't
true.
think
That's
so.
not true.
You can change anything with sex.
Nope.
I can alter any guy's behavior with the right amount of sex and the right kind of sex.
They're going to alter their behavior around you, and that's it.
Well,
So
yeah, but that may be enough.
Well, yeah.
If that's the case, then dang, I was kidding.
But
Yeah,
Animist, I have to disagree. I think that people can change no matter what their age.
But you have to want to change.
And I've seen it. Yeah. Of course. That applies to everybody. Nobody changes because they don't want to. I mean, maybe they might change something because they have to, because it's life and death. But that's one of the things that I've struggled with in the past is that nobody changes nobody changes just for the sake of it. They change because they want to inside of them. If they don't change inside of themselves because they want to, it's not going to stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about the exception, though. I was talking about the rule. Because
I was talking about the rule.
Oh, man.
I've known so many people who have changed. I'm
cool,
sorry.
you guys disagree on something for once.
Oh, we always disagree on stuff.
I know, but we normally don't get to see it.
Oh, you should see our earlier conversations. Go back on his channel and watch him and I trying to explain things to each other. Oh, some of our conversations were pure chaos.
Because he's talking like metaphor and abstract, and I'm like sitting there trying to solidify it, like get down to objective stuff.
And abstract. They make sense to me.
I'm just like whatever.
Animus, if you ever find yourself in the Panhandle, I will kidnap you and I will drive you wherever you want to go.
Well, I'm actually hoping to get down there since I'm relatively close to it now. I am hoping to get down there. I mean,
like 6-7 hours is relatively close.
Yeah. My dad lives just like less than an hour from you, and I am hoping to get down there and visit at some point. So I have hope to actually share spirit and that sort of thing. At some point.
You two can go out and feed squirrels.
Yeah, we can go out and commune with the sand
Buddy,
whatever the sand pines have to offer. I don't know what the sand pines have to offer, but
not much, man. It's not.
Yeah, I know they're kind of short.
Oh,
the Florida sand pine is kind of the sheep of the tree world.
But I'm not liking this. I'm not liking this. There's a comment that says from Carrie Spider. Glad I bumped into this. Finally found Animus channel again.
Oh, finally found again?
Sorry,
this is my channel.
Yeah,
this is my guest. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
You guys are supposed to be telling Hellbound Heathen how cool he is. Come on, tell Lilokin how cool he is. I'm just here as a temporary guest. I got a
temporary guest that's here all the time.
You know what I'm going to do? I think for the first thing when I'm finally able to, because I'm literally not capable with my current computer of making videos, but when I am, the first thing I want to do is like a 2-hour interview with Lilokin on my channel. And just let him tell everything he wants to say on my channel.
Yeah, and there'll be people typing in the chat like, does Hellbound Heathen have a channel?
Oh,
duh.
They're like, oh, cool. We tuned into Hellbound Heathen channel.
I mean, the only reason I'm even here is because of him. Otherwise, I would have blown off the YouTube Pagan community a long time ago because I didn't know all you cool people back then.
Aww.
So I mean, Lilokin's the one who really made me hang around on YouTube and keep listening to Pagan stuff.
Yeah, how did you come across my channel?
I have no idea.
Oh.
I mean,
I don't even know how I got across to you. I'm just like, I think it was randomly searching Pagan shit, and like your stuff kept popping up with like, weird theory stuff, and you're like debunking all this shit, and I'm like, who's this asshole? Sorry.
Yeah, when I first came on YouTube about, I don't know, 10 years ago, And I was sort of going, I wonder what the witches are up to lately. And I was kind of looking to see if there were any witches on the internet, because although witches have a history of being, you know, like weirdly over secretive, I thought, well, maybe there's some witches out there or some pagans or something. And the two things that I ran into were you and Pagan Perspective. Which is
I love Pagan
Cars Collective. Yeah, and a lot of people love them. I tried to hang out with them for a long time, but between some of the racism and some of the just wacky, a couple of the people on Pagan Perspective over the years were really racist about you had to have the right bloodlines in order to be pagan and stuff.
Weird.
What?
But they also have a lot of really cool people. So I don't want to tell anyone not to go to Pagan Perspective, because they also have some really cool people. But I kind of eventually couldn't take those aspects of the people they had on the channel. And then I also found Lilocan. And those were the two things that I found. And so I've ended up continuing to follow Lilocan's work, because at least he's not racist.
That is true.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how did I would have to say the way I found his channel was through Sister Witch, Comedic. She
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was kind of secretly going through her subscriptions.
You mean like
If
you were
you're on
binge
there,
watching
Comedic,
her
Now you
videos?
know my secret. If you're listening, Comedic, you now know my secret. But
Oh, she's not on right now. I think she's at work.
Yeah, she popped in for like 15 minutes earlier.
Yeah. So if you're watching, now you know. No. But I was pretty much going through some of her subscriptions, and I also ran into Lilocan's channel. I was like, what is this guy about? And then I was just listening to it. I was like, interesting. And so it just got me more like,
Interested in the community?
Yeah, more like getting to hear what he has to say, his point of view on things, because I'm very open to a lot of things, but if it gets to the point that I feel like it's full of bullshit, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna have to dismiss you.
Yeah. No, there's no reason to watch anybody you don't agree with, you know.
Yeah. I think I've only binge watched like a few people. Like I binge watched Hellbound, and I think Tiptoe Chick, because you guys are mentioning her in the comments. I binge watched all her stuff when it first came out, and I think Thorn Mooney, and that was about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a shock when I heard about Tiptoe Chick, because she was really big on YouTube for a while. Then she kind of she got quiet for a while, and then she kind of came back, and seemed like she was trying to get back into the swing of things. And
she was having family issues or something, which is why she got off. And then she was coming back as her family issues were getting solved, but like it wasn't completely solved. So that's why she kept coming back and forth, where she would be on, like she'd make a video like once every month for like 3 or 4 months, and then she'd leave again for like a year or two. Yeah, haven't we lost like 3 witches or 4 witches so far?
We lost 3 that I've known of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I knew Tiptoe Chick. I mean, I didn't really know her. I mean, I knew her through YouTube. You know, the other people, I don't know. You know, I know that. I mean, there were some people that I knew who passed away like last year. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube's been around long enough that we're going to start experiencing, and this is the season for appreciating that. We are going to start experiencing losses of people on YouTube, and we're going to have to accept that as part of the cycle of things.
Circle of life.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and I've lost a lot of people over the years. So, I mean, it's in real life, it's a very real thing. But when you have something that used to be new, like YouTube, everybody was invincible, immortal, and 10 feet tall and indestructible.
Right.
And it's been around long enough that we are occasionally going to lose a friend. And then we got to wait however many years You know, mark your calendars for 2033. There's going to be some 15-year-old new witch online who's going to remind you of her.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. Some shard of her is going to. You're getting a little bit of my opinion on practitioners here, but you know, 15 years from now, there's going to be someone that has some shard of her that you're going to recognize some of that fire and some of that independent spirit. And you're going to say, I remember Tiptoe Chick.
Yeah, or you can see like, hey, that girl reminds me of Ancestral Witch, or that girl reminds me of you know, Artemis. You know how Artemis was like kicked back, or Tiptoe was like, you know, all into all this and that. So I totally agree. There's gonna be somebody, and that's what I want to do. I want to try. That's what I'm trying to base my channel on. I want to base my channel on the fact that I want to be able to share my knowledge with the upcoming newbies that are witches, so later on they could share that and maybe add to that. Be like, oh, I learned this from so and so, but I might put my own touch to it, because that's pretty much what this community is about. It's about learning from each other, being there for each other, and be supportive of each other. And that's one thing I pretty much love about being a witch, is that we have that connection, that support of each other, that love and understanding of each other. And no matter what, you know,
Hell,
we
with
always
that music in the
other's
background.
Sorry about that. Yeah. It's my child.
Sorry, I'm just like, is this some Austin Powers shit going on?
Yeah, I heard Austin Powers.
Yeah, she's playing Roblox. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So,
That's all right.
random question, Hellbound. Why are none of us like? Why do you never, or why do none of us do like videos and stuff? I understand why Animus doesn't do it. He doesn't have the equipment necessary, but I'm pretty sure most of the rest of us do. But when you're doing these, you never seem to have anybody like doing videos, like live videos. I mean, while we're doing the live chat.
What do you mean?
Like have the camera on?
Oh, I don't. I mean, I just got off work. I'm sitting here in my robe. I don't really.
Oh.
I don't turn my camera on.
And I'm looking a mess, so I don't want to know everybody to see me looking like a hot mess. So.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody wants to turn their camera on, they're more than happy to. But I mean, sometimes I do it, but you know, this time I'm just not doing it.
Yeah, I'm a hot mess,
You know.
so yeah, you don't want to see me as a hot mess. If you want to see me as a hot mess, check out my channel, because there's times I'm a hot mess. So. Hey, I'm not trying to be a hot mess right now in front of everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of go ahead, Animus.
I was just going to say, sometimes that's an important thing to be too. And so I'm going to look for your channel. What's your channel name? Could you type it in like the chat or something so I can go check it out? Because you're a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can also click her name. In the chat, there's 3 little dots to the far right. If you click that, it'll say go to channel, and you can go to her channel that way. And you can also, for those of you in the chat who want, you can also check out Stephanie's channel too by doing that.
Yeah, Stephanie's channel is really cool. She actually does make a lot of videos, and they're really cool.
So I make too many videos.
No, you do great, because you're so busy with your reading and all your activities and your trips. I love it. Yeah, we might have a little too much fan thing going on, but you know, that's just the way it is.
Okay, so she put in a chat. It's Kasia Loki Morgan. So it's basically her name, all one word. Kasia.
Another Loki.
You can expect another Loki.
I expect Morrigan all over the place, but I've been noticing an awful lot of Loki lately too. I think it's a movement. I think the chaos of modern society is important in some ways. I'm not sure why yet about Loki.
Sure, it's not a movie thing?
I understand why Morrigan is a big deal right now, because it's a thing. But I'm still working on understanding the Loki angle and why he's become so popular in people's lives lately. So
it's funny because the Morrigan, it means great queen in Irish.
No, the Morrigan is the dark-haired lady. She's important. She's universal. She's a big deal. She's one of the High Fae. I get entirely why she's a big deal right now because
she's High Fae.
Too long. It'll take too long to explain what I mean by that. But she is the perfect response to the centuries of the patriarchy. So I understand. There's been a big upsurge in also Kali, and there's been a big upsurge in the cult of the English, the cult of Mary in the Catholic world. Okay, and these are all basically aspects of the same goddess, and so I understand that because that's just a necessary rebalancing. The Loki thing, I'm still working on because I think it's a lot of fun, but I'm still working on how that pieces together with the future of the species.
So are you saying that the Great Queen, the Morrigan, is part of the two a day Danan, the she, the Fae?
Yes.
That's what I was wondering. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we divide up divinity a little differently, but
sure,
to me, the Morrigan is the big queen. In Norse culture, she's Frigg and Freya, and she's dark-haired, pale-skinned, and is both.
Very cold to the touch. She's a vampire.
Oh, yes, she has that going on.
I was being sarcastic.
She is life and death, and she's the feminine version of life and death. And it's very important for her to be around right now so that people have some balance in their life.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. I just that's okay. There's nothing wrong with your interpretation. It's just that mine's a little different than that, but it's okay.
Yeah, well, we come from different cultures, so we're gonna. Right. There are certain aspects that are going to be a little different, but to me, I completely understand why she's important right now. Loki, however, is a whole different sort of kettle of fish.
A kettle of fish.
Yeah, he's a whole different thing. And I've also seen in the last 20 years a big rise, maybe 25 years, a big rise in the appreciation of coyote among Native Americans. Coyote has become very big also. And coyote is basically Loki. It's basically the same thing.
Same concept.
And that's curious because historically, coyote was someone to be a little bit concerned about showing up. But now I've seen a lot of people embracing coyote. And that's a lot of fun for me. But I don't necessarily completely understand why it's so important right now.
Well, coyote brings change. And Coyote was actually, from what I've read, and I've only read, he brought a whole bunch of things to the Native American people, like he brought horses and all sorts of other things. And kind of like Raven brought, what was it that turned his feathers black? Oh, I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'm off on a tangent. But anyway, Coyote actually helped out and did a whole bunch of stuff that was really nice. Like he brought water, like he took it from the toads basically and, gave it to the people. So Coyote's not just like this, basically a trickster god that does just bad things. He actually does some good things.
Yeah. I think it's interesting when you start talking about cultures and gods. I think that there's different aspects that people view this in. One of them is this kind of universal archetypes. Like you're talking about, like the trickster god and the feminine and the masculine, and so you can see similarities in various gods of various cultures, and some people have believed, like Dorian Valiente, for example, like all male gods are the same god, all female gods are the same goddess. Then there's other people who don't see it that way. They see individual cultures' gods as very different and the aspects different. There can be similarities, but to say that one god is the same as another, they wouldn't agree with that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of interesting. I don't think it's a right or wrong answer. It's just how we perceive things, you know. But the way I perceive, especially the Irish gods, and or people know them as the Celtic gods. I mean, there's a whole mythology and stories behind these gods and goddesses. And it's really interesting to okay, sure, no problem. To study these things, but like if I was to read the mythology of like Frigga or Kali, I could see similarities between the two, but they are in my opinion they're aspects of that universal culture mind, or
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of like the way I perceive it, and I don't think it's necessarily right or wrong. It's just how I perceive it, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all perceive things differently, so
Yeah.
as long as there's general consensus in the end.
Yeah, I love the Toynbee Cooley where the Morrigan is there on the battlefield, and trying to when Cuchulainn, the hero, just puts himself up against a rock and he's just fighting them off, and there's the ravens above him. It's a really fascinating story. But that's where I first learned about the Morrigan, was in that the Great Queen.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't do too much with Celtic mythology. That's never been like my focus point. A lot of people, their first ones are like Norse and Celtic and Greek and Roman and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Though to be argued, Greek and Roman's basically the same thing. Don't let my friends hear that; they'll beat me.
Well, if you were probably Greek or Roman, you might disagree, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was just making a joke about that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
well, it is true because, like, you know, the names of, for example, Jupiter, Zeus. You know.
It's like, really? Did you just have to like rename them? I mean, you know, you basically have the same gods. Why don't you just give them the same names?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. And they also did that with the Gallic the Celto Gallic gods too. For example, Mercury and crap, who was it? Mercury and Tuatates? Shit, who was
I'm
it?
gonna say yes because I really don't know.
Yeah, but there's archaeological there's evidence of some of these gods. It might have no, it wasn't. But anyhow, what they'll do is they'll marry gods to them, or they'll just call the gods. They'll create a statue of a god, or somebody will carve it, and they'll call it the Gallic name and then the Roman name. So they did the same. So they did the same thing when they were conquering Gaul. Is they just sort of they adopted the religion and sort of put it into the Roman pantheon. So it was sort of like the people could worship and do these, but it was kind of like
Christianity did with the holidays.
Well, that's where Rome. You know, our Christianity comes from Rome. But what were you saying?
Yeah. Well, no, I was like, because you're saying that they adopt the names into their own pantheons. I'm like, is that basically what Christianity did with the holidays?
Yeah.
They just they adopted them because the pagans wouldn't stop worshiping and renamed them Christian names and stuff.
It could be.
Yeah, I heard about
Could
that. That's what I've learned too. That's what I'm learning. Actually, let me rephrase that. I'm learning that Christians had pretty much renamed the pagan holidays to make it their own. So basically, they're stealing our stuff.
Well, it could have been more kind of like an evolutionary thing. It's kind of like, you know, cultures move from different places to places and they bring their practice with them, and then it kind of gets incorporated into the practice. Next thing you know, you're like, you know, you're celebrating Easter by boiling eggs, and you know, it doesn't have anything to do with Passover or the rebirth of Christ, but you know, your grandparents did it and you do it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I think it was a concentrated effort by one of the popes at one point to do that. So that's what I remember, and I can't remember which stinking pope it was. There's too many of them, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of popes.
Oh yeah.
A whole sheeple of popes.
Line them all up. Line them all up.
It kind of, the number of popes kind of speaks to how long European culture was stagnated.
Yeah, I know, right?
That so many generations went by without really making any significant advances.
Yeah, that's just doing far much for me.
So, well, all right. Well, we're almost at 3 hours now. So,
Jesus.
I know it goes by so fast.
Where has the time gone?
Oh, talking about squirrels and Loki and the Morrigan and incels.
Squirrels.
What else did we talk about?
We did
Pretty
manage
much everything.
We did manage to get really pagan though, so I'm glad about
That's
that.
True.
We got all the way down to the real pagan meat.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to, I gotta kind of get back into my roots because I find myself getting off on other videos and just forgetting about you know.
Do the reading, man. Do all the readings.
Do all the readings.
Read every book ever.
Don't forget to look up everything too while you're at it. No, I was kidding.
No. Like, Hellbound, I really want to see your library. Like, you should do that for us, or for me specifically. I want to see your books.
Yeah, do like a book.
I did a video on books that I recommend.
No,
but a lot of the library that I have is the library. Yeah, but the library that I have is just, it's really small to what it used to be. I mean, I used to have a lot more books, and over time, as I moved and lost and sold some and borrowed and never got them back, or lent and never got back, and so it's changed quite a bit. And some of the books, like, they just don't make anymore. They're just out of print, you know.
Oh yeah.
But it also kind of depends upon what it also depends upon what you're interested in, you know. Like, I don't know anything about Indian culture, so I don't say anything about Indian culture. I don't know anything about voodoo, so I don't say anything about it. I don't know anything about, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know anything about, so I don't talk about it. I know what I know, and that's pretty much that's pretty much it.
Hey, I'm there because I keep losing like the references in my head. I'm like, I read that, I just don't remember where, or I heard about that, or I was taught that, I just don't remember where. So then everybody's like, oh, well, that has to be fake because you can't give me an exact website to go to.
Well, I mean, it's so subjective. You can look back in history and try to find out where something may have originated, but I mean, we have to admit our practice is very subjective, and it's really hard to like hammer something down. You can't pour it, and you can't measure it, and you can't weigh it, you can't, you just can't. There's a lot of it that is subjective, and it comes down to that. And it's the way that we perceive reality, and we perceive our interactions with squirrels and human beings and all this other stuff. And it's, it's just. It's very subjective. Away from that. I know. I'm always going to bug him about that.
It's hilarious now. It's like a running joke.
Well, I'm not making fun of him for it. I hope you don't take it that way, Animist. Yeah. No, it just crystallizes the way that he sees things, as opposed to like me, where I'm like, like, I don't know, what would be a jokingly way to. Like, I'm just like a total nerd, and just like it has to be like this or that.
You're the debunker.
The debunker, yeah, right.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of like, it's like Spock or whatever. I don't know what would be the comedic aspect of myself.
You're like the comedic version of Spock. You're like his little brother who couldn't stop joking or something.
Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper. No.
It's like a blood mage goblin is a hemoglobin. I'm like, oh, nobody got that joke.
Oh, bad.
Nobody
bad
got that
Stephanie.
joke.
I got it. That was bad.
It was
Hemoglobin.
Hemogoblin.
Hemoglobin. Yeah.
What?
But I am gonna try to have more of these hangouts. I try to do them on Wednesdays and Saturdays. It's just this. I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things and make videos more often. But we'll see how it goes. So anyhow, people want to wrap it up, like maybe give a shout out to your channel and maybe a little bit about what it is, and then after that, I think I'll close it out. Do you want to start, Stephanie?
Oh, sure. Hi, I'm Stephanie Buhexe. No, I'm kidding. Like an AA meeting or something. My channel's basically about books, but I have like random shit on there from like when I took trips to New Orleans and when I took a trip to Tennessee. I also like to do like trails and stuff like that. So have fun. Updates every Tuesday and Thursday currently, till I lose my mind.
So you're putting out videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Cool.
Yeah. Like Tuesday's the book reviews and then Thursday's the update. And so you actually get real Stephanie on Thursday and you get like boring book Stephanie on Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because I caught your video last Thursday, so cool. And what about you, Kasia?
Well, I'm Kasia, aka Kasia. Basically, my channel is Kasia Loki Morgan. And pretty much I try my very best to put videos out every day. Whenever time allows. Basically right now I am getting back into just sharing my journey. I'm going to have a separate channel, which is going to be like my vlog channel. Kind of separate the two, where my Kasia Loki one is going to be pretty much just like a teaching, sharing channel where I do like DIYs and try to do witching in the kitchen. And my other vlog, which is the life of Kasia Morgan, pretty much just shows you my life on being a mother, a parent, a teacher, all that good stuff. So that's pretty much who I am. That's pretty much my channel is. Just, check me out. And I will definitely, so do all that. So like I said, I try my best to post videos every day, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, that's how I've gotten too, and because I was saying, oh, I'm going to put out a video on this date and that, and I at this point I've kind of given up on it. It's kind of like stuff is going to happen when it happens. I've tried to be good. I've tried to be disciplined. Do it.
Exactly. Life happens.
You can't just like make a bunch of videos and then preset them to come out at a certain time on a certain day.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't. I mean, for me, it doesn't work. Like this video that I just put out, it took me like several days to put together. Yeah, so it's not like I can. I wish. I can't do it that way. It's just takes, and it's not like it's so time consuming. It's just that the free time that I have only fits like a couple of hours here and a couple of hours there. So that's kind of like how I have to do it. Yeah. I mean, if I could sit down and work like on a whole video in a day, that'd be fantastic. But it just doesn't work that way,
Yeah.
You should do unedited videos like me.
Yeah, you put such cool production values into your videos, though, Lilac. And so it's totally worth waiting for, because you get to do the editing and you get the cool backgrounds and music. So
you actually make your little demon face do things.
Exactly.
Yeah, I actually really like putting those little music videos together at the beginning of the videos. But once I do that, it's like whatever money I make on that video goes to the artist. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's worth it for me because I just enjoy doing them. You know,
Incubus, succubus needs to eat too, and
exactly.
let's face it,
It's their song. They have every right to it.
Yeah, good for them.
I mean, I like that band. Yeah. I like that band, so I don't. I'd like it that they get the money. I mean, it's not like they're getting a ton of money. They're only getting like a quarter of a cent or something like that. It's a really small amount. I mean, over time they probably make a couple of bucks off my videos, but that's
you bought them a cup of coffee for advertising the presence. I'll bet a number of people have bought their albums because they saw them on your thing, or bought their DVD because they saw them on your thing. So
exactly.
Well, cool. And I know Animus doesn't have a channel, but we're all trying to bug him. We're gonna try to get him to get a channel when he gets a computer that can handle it, and then I can come over there and we can do a 2-hour interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God,
I think that we should totally make that. We should totally make that the first live video I do should be interviewing you just for revenge.
Dun, dun, dun.
You can put me on the spot. Exactly.
And you can tell me all the things you can't tell me when I ask you the questions that I know to ask.
Like, I don't have to worry. It's not my channel.
Because over the years, I've known more Wiccans and I've known more Gardnerians who told me all the stuff they couldn't tell me. And because we're both of a certain age where we've known people, and so I actually know what to ask to not get an answer. And so I think it would be fun to ask some of those questions, like alternately with asking questions you can actually answer.
See if you
you'll have to put me on a spot, so I have to figure out a way I can answer the question without answering the question.
No, you should just go, oh, it's super secret, man. You can't.
Well, I would tell you, but I'd have to kill you. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna pull the plug on this, guys. It was a lot of fun. Animist, I always enjoy hanging out with you. And Kasia, thank you for joining. Stephanie, always a pleasure. Chat room, you guys were fantastic. Everybody was behaving and just chatting amongst themselves, and a lot of fun. So thank you all, and I will do this again. I just don't know exactly when. I'm going to try to do it on Wednesdays and Saturdays, but no guarantees, and I apologize for that. The way my life is right now.
Hey, we all get busy, so
all righty, y'all.
Like this.
Exactly. All righty. Good night, all. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It went quiet.